It's episode 278 of The Platformers, a show about games and nerd culture, and I'm your host, Brian Barnett.
And I am the random co-host that he keeps pulling in from Australia for some reason, Kris Cornelisse, aka Delphin.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much. A bright, sunny day in Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
Just to throw things off for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a nice, pleasant, very, very too hot evening where I'm at. So, yeah, I'm excited to be inside and all showered up and with, hydrating and all that sort of stuff because it's pretty miserable out there today.
Stay hydrated. This is a threat.
Yeah. There you go. Drink up, everybody.
Drink up me Hearties. Yo-ho.
Yo-ho indeed. And we're going to talk about pirates later on.
That we are.
But this is a show about video games, and we're going to talk about a lot of video games because since the last time we recorded, I flew to San Francisco and saw 3 really cool games that I'm excited to talk about, and we will find out if I can talk about them. And there have been a number of showcases talking about all kinds of games. So we're going to dip into that in a little bit. And I also did a preview, and we played and beat Diablo IV. So we're going to talk a lot about a lot of these things throughout the show. Kris, where did you want to start, my friend? Did you have anything you wanted to get off your chest on this fine day, morning, evening?
Well, a lot of my thoughts and discussions will end up being on Diablo, and I can quickly say that way better than I was expecting. Really good. Currently my pick for game of the year.
Wow,
even over. And that's having played Zelda. No, I'm not crazy. So yeah, but we can discuss that in depth, but I think we should probably knock out, I'm curious to hear more about your previews and everything first.
Sure.
Plus all these showcases we probably should knock out.
What do you want to start with? I'll let you select our pathway through this miry bog of content that we have this week.
Let's see. How about you tell me about this Wayfinders game I keep hearing about, if you're able to.
Cool. Yeah, sure. So Will and Josh were not able to join us this week, but I played alongside of them. I played this game, Wayfinder, which is in beta. So this is one of the games that Will and I saw at PAX East. So we talked about that on our PAX Extravaganza episode, which I think was like, hold on. Let me actually look it up. PAX Extravaganza, episode 272. So there you go. You can go listen to an hour and 40 minutes of Will and I just going into the weeds about all these sorts of things. So we played Wayfinder there, but it was way more limited. So with this Wayfinder beta, we covered a lot more ground. We were given basically free reign of a lot of different sections, like the intro of the game. We were given, access to different characters than we had at PAX. But this is a game by Airship Syndicate, which are the makers of Battle Chasers Night War and Darksiders, and all those sorts of things. One of the heads of the studio is Joe Madureira, who has done the Battle Chasers comic series and a bunch of other comics. Like, if you like that kind of chunky aesthetic and art style from like the key art and the promo art from Darksiders and these other games, then like this is absolutely just going to be more of that. But instead of being Battle Chasers Night War was a party-based single-player classical RPG. Darksiders was a third-person action game a la, Zelda, God of War, these sorts of things. And this is kind of melding the two, but in a kind of MMO-light format.
Okay.
So, yeah. So it is class-based. There are one of the interesting things about it is on a single account, you can definitely unlock any number of classes, and you can switch between them at any time, which I think is really cool. You can kind of equip different characters like you could job classes in Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah, that was my first thought. You
Yeah.
say single character classes, I'm like, yep, there we go.
Yeah, and one of the interesting things about it is I think combat feels very different than one would expect from an MMO. It's kind of like it's kind of like if you played Darksiders 3, it's kind of like that, but I think kind of a better version of that sort of combat, but it's in the party-based system. So your parties can consist of up to 3 characters. And, you will, it's all about building things, crafting things, gathering resources, running dungeons multiple times. There are things that are kind of reminiscent of, early to mid Supergiant games where like you'd play Bastion and you can put on these modifiers and things like that. Oh, these enemies will do X, Y, and Z dangerous thing or whatever. One thing that I really enjoyed was going into these different modifiers, picking up these consumable items and then using them to be like, okay, let's do a God, I forget what it was called. But like it's like a shadow suffix or whatever. And then all of a sudden, you'd kill these enemies, and after you kill them, like there'd be a shadow nova explosion after they died. Like there's these like little modifier things.
Just extra stuff to have to watch out for.
Exactly. And when you do that, you're adding more dangerous things, but you're also amping up the rewards that you'll get. So I like playing wizard characters in these games. And I think his name is Kairos or something like that. He was craftable, but I actually wasn't able to get everything I needed to make him this time around. So I ended up playing the rogue. So this is a female character who is kind of like a dark elf type of a thing from Dungeons and Dragons. Her people are from way underground. They've lived there since time immemorial. She's coming up to the surface to help people sort out everything that's going on with the planet. There's this fog that's rolled in, and it's basically like kind of like Demon Souls. It's kind of like split the world apart, and there's not that much that's still remaining. So your job is to go out and find artifacts that will let you establish personal connections to distant places that will then let you teleport to them. That's kind of how this thing works. Like you can only navigate the gloom and reconnect the world together if you have like a personal attachment to it. So your character is going around finding memories about these old places or finding artifacts that are like emotionally charged or really important to other people. And then you can go into these dungeons, in these far off lands that you've kind of wandered to, and then you'll be able to get to them from the hub back home. So you're kind of bringing like going out into the world. And if you're familiar with World of Warcraft or you're familiar with, any of these other things, like you go out into the Barrens and you do Wailing Caverns. But then what if after you do that, you go back home to Orgrimmar? Sorry guys, I'm horrid. So that's what I'm going to be talking about. And then you go down into like the Shadow Cleft, and instead of it just being, the one dungeon that you have in your city, you could also go to this other one, but without having to go back into the place where it really is out in the world. So it's, there's these hubs and these crafting characters that are all around. There's a bunch of side quests. Feels pretty good to me. I like it. I think that the one area that I think that it could use a little bit of work, and granted, this is like beta or pre-beta, but the combat feels like a little bit floaty to me, and the writing is very like, I don't know that this is going to change because there's also a lot of voice acting going on, but like some of the writing is like very noun laden and kind of repetitive. Like they're always talking about the gloom. Somebody's always, all that sort of stuff is just always being talked about. So I wish it wasn't that way. This is definitely one of those
nouns, more just actual characters.
Yeah.
Discussions, things.
This definitely, to me, feels like the value in this is gameplay first. Which, I mean, I have a lot of fun doing.
That's fine.
Like, there are some cool puzzles in there. Obviously, it needs, it needs a lot of work. It's going to get a lot of work. I don't think it's coming out until like way later this year or maybe next year. Let me see if I can pull this up.
If it's built MMO light, I assume it's, you know, the idea will be vaguely live service, like more like if not full on, then just, you know, the occasional update and things like that, and just rolled out and developed over time. One would hope, but it might just
Yeah.
be, you know, it might just be brought out and good to go immediately. Like novel concept, I know, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like this is one of those situations where like it needs like this is true of a lot of things. Like if you're playing something in early access, you're playing something in beta. Like the understanding is that it's going to be a little rough around the edges, but understand that like a lot of those rough edges are going to get sanded off.
Of course.
And so like just kind of the blanket statement about like, you know, I'm excited to play a more polished version of this, but I think that the core loop is pretty good, you know. And this definitely you know, I played Destiny for a long time, and I think that game can support single player, but I think that it doesn't hold up as well as it does when you're playing with a group. Like obviously hanging out with people, talking, running around, doing all the stuff that you're doing, like that's where the game kind of shines, and that's definitely still going to be the case here. You know, like this isn't going to you know, hold up to the same single player scrutiny that, let's say, you know, foreshadowing a Diablo 4 is going to do. You know, that's a situation where like you can play with other people, you can play by yourself, does not matter. Game is great. And we will see, you know, what comes later for Wayfinder. But what I will say is, the gameplay loop and doing stuff with other people is fun enough that like, if people are saying, hey, you want to play some Wayfinder? Like I'm, you know, I don't have anything against that. I'm definitely up for jumping in and playing some.
Servers up, here's my name, let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Which is kind of a lot of like what, you know, Street Fighter has been doing. Like for me, like other people, I'm hearing like, hey, I'm going to go and create a room. And I'm like, oh, all right, I'll be right there, you know? Which
Drop in and drop out.
Yeah, it's a great way to be. And I'm definitely excited to play more and to play my character because, you know, I like the rogue. She's cool. She can teleport around and, you know, do all this sort of stuff. She has combo points, kind of like a, you know, World of Warcraft rogue and things like that. Like, you know, but I like my magic boy. I miss him. So I'm
understandable.
Yeah.
I typically play mages and such in that sort of game as well. So I'm right there with you.
Yeah. And Kairos in Wayfinder is interesting because he's a melee mage. So like his spells are close. Like he does like the shadow claw thing where he summons these claws that come up from the ground and like rake people towards him. And then he's got like, you know, abilities that will like shoot out and tether other people and then blow up after 8 seconds. So he's got like, he's in like close to mid-range type of thing, which is not normal for wizards. You know, as you know, like a lot of times they'll be like, you're super squishy. You really need to be very far away from people and, you know, have all that sort of stuff. And Kairos
it's a very underserved archetype, and we could use more of it, frankly.
Yeah. Yeah. Kairos is not afraid to get up close and personal with enemies, which I think is really interesting and cool. So, but anyways, yeah, that's Wayfinder. Check it out.
Well, has my interest for sure.
It's going to be on definitely PC.
Yeah. It'd have to be. All the games are on PC typically, right?
PC, PS5, Epic Games. So yeah, PS5, Steam, Epic. Yeah.
Okay, good.
So cool. So that's that. Where do we want to go next? Let's see.
How about we hit up one of these showcases and then we'll dip back to individual games because we've got a few showcases to sprint through.
Let's do it. Do you have the info up?
Yep, I have the quick announcement of all the Xbox showcase stuff, which was the first chronologically, I believe. So I want to go through that.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, why don't you lead us on through this?
All right, so I'm effectively just going down the list of IGN's everything announced showcase things. So shout out to Logan Plant, our boy, who has done pretty much all of these. So I don't know how the hell you do it, but good stuff. So first on the docket, there is a teaser trailer for Fable by Playground Games. So they are the Forza Horizon guys, I want to say. No.
I'll look it up while you're talking.
Yeah. So again, haven't said like a lot of these I haven't sat down and properly watched. I'm just going through the list here, but people seem generally okay with this. Like I know they teased that, yeah, we're making a new Fable. It's going to be a reboot. Check it out. Like years ago, and then it's just been kind of quiet. So
you are
cool
correct. I thought you were correct, but I wanted to definitely be sure. So yeah, Forza Horizon 4, Lego, Fable, and Forza Horizon 5. So yep.
Nailed it. A little different. Yeah, a little different from their typical cars. But should be interesting to see what they do. The tone is apparently pretty good. It's still kind of got that whimsy to it that Fable is. I wouldn't say it's lighthearted, but it definitely is not like super serious. It kind of rides that edge of like, not Grimm's fairy tale, but fairy tale kind of feel. So it's right there in the name, Fable. So
Richard Ayoade from the IT crowd was in it, doing his Richard Ayoade thing. Which was pretty good. Fun. Looks cool.
Can't complain. Hope it's good. I'm not a huge Fable mark, so mainly because I didn't have an Xbox back in the day, so I didn't get around to it until much later. So
I didn't really care. This is definitely a hot take, but I was a huge fan of the first one, and then didn't really vibe with 2 or 3 at all. Which I feel like
that's a hugely hot take. Like I know really? 3 is generally maligned. 2, people hold a candle for 2, but a lot of people still think the first was the best. So
really, okay, everybody I've talked to,
my
is
understanding,
2 and 3 are dope, and all that. So like,
3 was apparently quite maligned because it's kind of cut the scope back a bit. Was a lot more focused, I guess. I didn't play it myself, so I don't really know the full details, but I know it was generally considered the worst of them. So
okay, well then I don't feel so bad for bouncing between off
first and second.
Yeah, but yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So I'm definitely open to it coming back, but like I don't have a horse in this race.
Yeah, fair, same. I do have a horse in the next race, though, that being Cyberpunk 2077's Phantom Liberty.
Yeah, I'm excited. It seems like it's going to be good.
Mm-hmm. I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
But so my love affair with Cyberpunk is complicated. Like we can't understate that the release was terrible, right? Yeah. The release is terrible. It will always be a shadow over that game. We can't not discuss it when we talk about it.
Yeah.
But when they sat down and did some polish and added some things and did all that, then it allowed what was already there, because it was never a bad game. It's not like No Man's Sky, which was a bad game and then got good. Cyberpunk was always a very good game, but you really had to dig deep over just the rough, unfinished edges.
Yeah.
But that story, that narrative, that conceit, I fell so in love with it. And when I bounced off it initially when it released, I played it on release to talk about it for, at the time, DualShockers. Figured, yep, this is not going to be game of the year. Put it down. Didn't touch. Came back to it like 18 months later and was like, wow, this is good. This is good. This is great. This is excellent. I love this.
Yeah.
So completely in love with that story and that character and characters. And yeah, was surprised by how much I was blown away by it. So I am following this. I'm not like watching every little bit of trailer and footage and whatnot, but I'm hopeful. And I'm hopeful they're taking the time to do it right the first time. So
yeah,
we'll see. But I am very eager to get back into Night City. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, I stopped playing this a while ago. I'm a little ways into it, but not very far. And I'm excited to get back to it because I just yesterday or the day before yesterday finished like so many of the things that I've been playing. And so right now I'm kind of like, I'm trying to figure out stuff with Ryu and Street Fighter. I'm still playing Tears of the Kingdom, but other than that, I'm not really I'm not really on the hook for anything else. So now is actually, prime time for me to go back and, revisit some of these things that I fell off of, pick up some new stuff. I'm really excited because this is definitely one of those that like I never uninstalled off my PC because I'm always like, when is the time when I'm going to jump back in? And I think the time might be now. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. And I have plenty of time to, to beat the base game before September 26th, which is right before my birthday. So, if this ends up being great, that'll be a pretty nice little birthday present for me.
Happy birthday to you. The game is good now.
Yeah. Now, this next one I've been looking forward to for a long time because the teasers were chef's kiss. And based on what I'm seeing, oh man, I'm excited.
I want to believe.
I want to believe. This is Obsidian's RPG, Avowed, and we finally are seeing it. And ladies and gentlemen, it's Elder Scrolls, basically. But it's Elder Scrolls made by a team that doesn't make buggy games, in my experience. Well, okay. Well, I'm not gonna.
Have you ever played Alpha Protocol? I've played Alpha Protocol.
Okay, I have not. But they did do. Obsidian did do. Man, this is gonna be a cut. Dungeon Siege 3.
That is a deep cut for them. Yeah, most people forget that they did that.
But I was a big fan of Dungeon Siege 1 and 2. Now, Dungeon Siege 3, not that big of a fan because it is very different from Dungeon Siege 1 and 2. Man, dude, if I could get a Dungeon Siege remake or whatever, man, that was a messed up game that was also real fun. Oh my God, nature mages. One of the greatest things, we're going to go on a little diatribe about this. Dungeon Siege was one of the first games I ever played where all of your stats grew based on your use of things. So if you used nature magic, you became a better nature mage. If
Elder Scrolls logic, yeah.
Yeah. If you use combat magic, you became a better combat mage. If you used, like swords or whatever, like you would just get better at that. And that was the first game I think that I had ever played that was like that. And it was a Microsoft game, and I think it was by Steam Powered Games. Dungeon Siege.
I cannot remember who it was done by. And I've only very briefly dabbled in the series, so I don't have the mark.
Gas Powered Games, baby. Published by Square Enix. You can buy it right now on Steam for $7.
Oh, it goes on sale much cheaper than that typically.
I bet, yeah. Yeah. But man, what a freaking great game. I loved it. Talk about a throwback. Wow, yeah, look at this. Recent reviews and all-time reviews, very positive. So I was not the only person drinking the Kool-Aid. Let's see. Dungeon Siege 2. Yeah, there we go. Also $7. Baby, I'm definitely gonna have to buy these later because I have not check them out. Yeah. I have not played these games in forever, and they're really fun. They're really fun. Also, fun fact: they made like a graphic novel, and if you bought, it might have been the base version, it might have been the collector's edition of Dungeon Siege 2. They give you like this graphic novel with like this really messed up story about the prince from the first game and the second game. We got some Diablo 1, Diablo 2 style, something's happened to our hero, type of stuff. But it's good stuff. Anyways.
Demons of his own, and he was losing.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, man. I was so excited to talk about Diablo, dude. I'm so excited.
Me too. I'm so keen.
But yeah, man, Avowed looks
But I'm also keen
great.
to talk about, Avowed. Like,
yeah. What was your...
Obsidian does good work. Like, I've played most of their stuff. I never loved them as much as I did in the early days when they were Black Isle, but like, I can't not acknowledge them for general quality, and they seem to be putting out a lot more games and doing generally well for themselves under Microsoft's umbrella. So
yeah, I mean, Black
Isle,
did Baldur's Gate 2. You can't
Baldur's Gate 2, Planescape Torment. Like, Baldur's Gate 2 is primarily a BioWare thing, but the engine was theirs. But Planescape Torment, Fallout 2, incredible.
Yeah.
Like Planescape Torments is one of the best games ever made.
That's another one I got installed that I'm like, I'm going to be playing it soon. So
I'll be nudging you to play that, Morrowind, and whatever else for as long as we know each other. Just get used to that.
The classic RPGs, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm keen to see, like, I thought they did, I wasn't a huge fan of Outer Worlds, but it was good enough. Mm-hmm. And I felt like it was, them doing Bethesda better than Bethesda had done in a while. So it's like, all right, let's see what you got. I'm keen to see how they tackle
that was them
basically
doing Fallout
Obsidian's
better than
Oblivion.
Fallout,
yeah.
And now this
Precisely.
is them doing Skyrim better than Skyrim. Maybe. We'll see.
Well, I mean, I'm not a huge Skyrim fan at all, so that's not a high bar for me.
Yeah, I liked it, but that was the only Elder Scrolls game that I really dug. I think ESO is fine, but I think ESO is
different game. I like ESO, but it's different. So.
Yeah, I think ESO is good in the same way that like I think Final Fantasy 14 is good, whereas like Skyrim would be like the Final Fantasy like just base game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely agree. But yeah, man, I'm
keen to see more of Avowed. Hope it's good.
Yeah. What was next?
So speaking of Elder Scrolls, apparently there's this little game coming out called Starfield.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. So confession, I mean, not even a slight confession at this point. It's well known. Anybody who knows me, not been the biggest fan of Bethesda's output for since Morrowind. Basically, all of them have had arguably as many negatives as positives, give or take, depending on which game you like. Shivering Isles of Oblivion, it's great. I'll give it that. But like everything else since then, very middling. So I'm going in and looking at Starfield, and it's like their gameplay loop of, explore, combat, loot, repeat. It's fun. It's solid. That looks to be what they're doing a lot of here. But the problem always is that these games are big, wide, lots of places to go, and about as shallow as a puddle. So I don't expect much different when you have like 1,000 planets or whatever. God Howard was talking about. So I don't know. I'm hopeful, and I hope people who are, looking forward to it get what they want. But like, I'm not exactly holding my breath.
Yeah.
And I'm not really. It's like, I'll be surprised. I'll be pleasantly surprised. And yeah, but it's not like I'm going to be leaping in day one keen to get into it,
Yeah. I did not watch the direct about this. I had some stuff I had to go do. But this is one of those situations where like I'm open to it. I'm also like not like the last Bethesda game, like Bethesda developed game that I played that I enjoyed was Fallout 4. And I know that longtime Fallout fans were like not that big on that game. It's a good game. It's not a good Fallout game. That's the problem. Yeah. So I don't really, personally, I don't really have, I've gotten into 2 Bethesda games really ever, and they are Skyrim and Fallout 4. And all the rest of the stuff that I dig is just Bethesda published. So like Arcane games, Machine Games, id, these sorts of things. So I don't really have a dog in this race, but also like I like the Fallout Skyrim formula. I just have to kind of be in the right frame of mind for it to work for me. And I'm not sure that that's going to be where I'm at when Starfield comes out, but I'm open to it. So that's about as
hope for the best, not expecting anything huge.
Yeah. Which I feel like is a divergence from the kind of high level conversation that are going on right now, where it seems like a lot of people are really excited about this, and I hope that it's great for all those people who are very, very into it.
I feel like the narrative about Bethesda games has gotten more and more negative as more time passes between both Elder Scrolls, Fallout, and everything. It's like nothing that they've done in like since Skyrim, and it's been 11 years since Skyrim.
That is, I guess it was a PS3 360 game. Holy crap!
Yeah, everything since that has been mixed, highs, lows, lows, and then more lows, and then Fallout 76.
Yeah.
You know, like
What
there's not a lot of inspiring confidence there.
what is the deal? I just realized this. What is the deal with PS3 and 360 era huge sprawling games that sell a bajillion copies and are ported to everything, and then we don't get anything for 10, 11, 12 years? Because Grand Theft Auto 5 and Skyrim both came out on that old hardware. They've both been ported everywhere. They've both sold tons of copies, and those studios basically haven't like done anything massive since. Like, I mean, I guess if
they
if
have,
count,
but it's always for a different series is the thing.
Exactly.
You then go Fallout
Precisely.
4 and Red
Yeah.
Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're like, what? You want another one? It's right there. It's good. Play that.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Let us try something else. I'm like, well, fair,
that's-
more power to you. But
That is fair. That is fair. I was mainly thinking about like, you know, like from my understanding, the teams who do Red Dead and the teams that do Grand Theft Auto are not the same teams. And
I don't know the the inner workings of Rockstar enough to weigh in on that, so it wouldn't surprise me to know that.
Yeah, and that's definitely my understanding on how Bethesda works also. But yeah. So it's just it's crazy, and I know that people are like, you know, if you're trying to one up Grand Theft Auto 5, at least as far as reception is concerned, like I've long said I think Grand Theft Auto 5 is probably the most overrated game of all time for me. And I think that Skyrim is also like very hyped, but like also people kind of know, because like there's the whole meme of like arrow to the knee, you know, there's like all that sort of stuff where it's just like, yeah, like we're hearing the same things over and over again. We're meeting the same people over and over again. Oh, finally awake, you know, like there's, you know, but
it's not what people are drawn to in those games.
Yeah.
It's you go on them, it's like, I just want to get lost in this big world and go, you know, beat some people up and get some levels and find some cool loot. And it's not too deep, it's not too complicated. It can go on for as long or as short as I want it. It's a good time.
Yeah. It definitely seems
and
like
it is moddable as hell.
Yes. That is definitely true. Bethesda games are big like places to mod and experience. And for that, I think that, you know, it's great. And I think that Starfield is like poised to just blow the doors off of that, because there is already so much that you can do in this game. I think that the mod community is just gonna go absolutely nuts on it.
Yeah, post Morrowind, Bethesda games, as I've said many a time, they're all right frameworks from which modders build better games out of.
Yeah. And that's crazy. So, you know, even on that front, like I feel like all of those, you know, criteria, Starfield is going to deliver all of the things that people want, probably. You know,
I just wonder, after 11 years and all these, you know, perceptions, and I mean, you know, it's not as long for 11 years if you're into Fallout, but like, it's going to be like, what, 15, 16 years by the time a new Elder Scrolls game comes out after Skyrim. That's pretty wild. And you just know it cannot possibly live up to that kind of expectation, no matter how good or anything it is. And given, you know, general cultural shift away from supporting Bethesda and such, I do wonder if it'll land with quite the same fanfare and applause. Like, I'm certain it'll sell like 10 million copies on day one. Like, that's just the unfortunate reality of our gaming sales, I guess. But yeah, I'm curious to see where the general consensus on this one lands and how long it takes.
Yeah,
because everyone loves Skyrim at first, and only a few were just like, this isn't actually that good. And the gulf between them has gotten narrower as time goes on. So
yeah, it's gonna be interesting. You know what also is gonna be interesting? Some of these other games that they were talking about.
That's true.
All right,
so the next one is Compulsion Games, developers of We Happy Few, have a teaser trailer, no gameplay, for a game called South of Midnight.
Which I think looks
cool. You seen
cool.
anything about
Obviously,
this one?
We haven't seen anything. I like the aesthetic. I like the vibe. You know, I'm getting, you know, like maybe Louisiana South, sort of, you know, Bayou area, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Bayou is the instant word you think of. Just
Yeah.
look at it. I think it's literally on one of these posters, actually.
Which is cool because like within the week I'm gonna be in New Orleans, so that's gonna be cool. I'm gonna be eating boudin balls and beignets and all that sort of stuff, just enjoying the jazz and all that. But yeah, I think it looks cool. I think that I'm a big fan of striking art styles, and this has that in spades. So I'm definitely excited to see more. I'm not incredibly encouraged by this being a compulsion game because I was a big fan of the idea of We Happy Few, but I did not think the execution was very good.
I think that's just the universal feel of it. It's like everyone saw the aesthetic and the concept and were like, oh, that looks cool.
Yeah.
And then just everything about the actual gameplay and the execution and the bugs and the, Gearbox buying it and suddenly being AAA and horribly overpriced and buggy as hell. It's like, didn't really leave a good taste in people's mouth. So let's hope this one is finished when they release it.
Yeah, I definitely I have high hopes for this one. Whether or not that is justified, I mean, only time will tell. So.
All right. Next, we have Ubisoft's Star Wars, made by Massive, at long last, called Star Wars Outlaw.
What do you think about
I think there was
one?
a trailer here, and then there was Ubisoft did their presentation, which they had like a proper gameplay trailer. I haven't sat down and watched that, but let me tell you, I am a big sucker for Star Wars, and I know I'm a very critical sucker of Star Wars. Don't get me wrong. Like, everyone's like, oh, Star Wars fan. It's like, I know. Okay, there is so much wrong with it, but there's also a lot of good stuff in there, and the stories that get told in there can be really compelling.
Yeah.
Like, they really can be. Promise. So I'm hopeful that's that. On the other hand, it's an Ubisoft game, so I know exactly what I'm getting with it. Will it be better with the Star Wars skin? It'll probably be fun for a bit. I doubt I'll finish, all the radio towers and everything, but hey, I'll give it a go and hope the narrative is strong.
Yeah, and I do think that the hook is pretty good. Like, I think that it's, it's Lady Han Solo, with a
commando droid wearing a trench coat. Like, I mean, what's wrong? What's hard? Yeah.
A lot of people are tweeting out like, wait a second. Oh no, why did they make the droid hot? And it's like, well, hey, the heart wants what the heart wants, people. All right. And if your heart,
Futurama did a whole episode on it. Look it up.
It's very true. It's very true. Everybody being like, droid, you're so hot. Shut up, baby. I know it. But yeah, it looks really cool. I'm excited. I also did not see the gameplay thing. I was disappointed that it was a CG only trailer, but then immediately at the end of the trailer, they're like, hey, we're going to have tomorrow or like right after the showcase or something. I forget what it was, but they're like,
Ubisoft did their full one and they put the gameplay video in that. So that's why.
Yeah.
So I still have to go take a look at that, but we'll be covering that.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, I don't like that this was all CG, but I like the tone. I like what it's showing me. It's got that kind of Mandalorian promise where it's like, these are smaller stories told in a huge world. And I'm a big fan of that. And with the immediate promise of this is not all CG. We have gameplay ready and we're going to show you like now. I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm with you, So
I'll at least hear you out, which is more than I can say of most Ubisoft games.
Exactly. Okay. What's next?
Forza Motorsport reboot.
Yeah.
Awesome. If those who like it, I hope you do. I'm not a huge racing game guy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm not a sim racer guy. I like more arcade experiences. So Horizon
likewise
is pretty much always going to be more up my alley. Or like straight up like Burnout style, like level based stuff. So like either Burnout or Dirt or, all that sort of stuff.
The more arcadey, instant, short-term gratification, not super realistic. There can be explosions and dumb shit. Yeah.
Or even like way simpler, more straightforward things like Horizon Chase or, stuff like that, or Mario Kart, Sonic Racing Transformed, those sorts of things. That all of that appeals to me more than sim racing. But
the Need for Speed Underground car PG is still where it's at for me.
Yeah.
Nothing has beaten that since.
Yeah, so not for me, but Forza is like, whether you're talking about Motorsport or Horizon, Forza is always great. So I don't expect that to change. It's one of those things where it's like every time a Forza game comes out, it's either going to get like a 9 or a 10, and that's just kind of the expectation because they just keep delivering. And
it is what that crowd wants, and great, awesome.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's doesn't make as many people angry as the most recent Gran Turismo did. Now's a good time for this to pop in, honestly.
Yeah. So I this is one of those things where it's just like these two studios, like between Playground and I think this is Turn 10, but both of those studios have delivered so consistently, such a ridiculously high bar of quality for so long. There's we were talking about previously, like there's no real reason to believe that Bethesda is going to deliver on something truly incredible. There's no reason to doubt that Turn 10 is going to deliver something incredible. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I would definitely, if you're putting stuff on your bingo card for good games, you should definitely, this might as well just be the free space. So
yeah, right there, right in the center.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next we had Clockwork Revolution. Another, just I didn't see too much about if there was gameplay or anything in this one. However, it gets a free pass from me because it's in Exile.
Yes.
And they do good work. I'm a huge fan of Wasteland 3.
So they did have gameplay, and I saw it, and let me tell you, this looks like BioShock Infinite. Like it is.
Yeah, you got to sell me better than that. I'm not a huge fan of that one.
But okay, fair. But the setting and the promise of something like that. So imagine BioShock Infinite, but instead of going through parallel worlds, this is all about time travel and causality.
Okay.
So you're going back in time, you're changing something, you're moving forward, now things are different. And apparently, I don't know if this is what this is, but the vibe that I got is like the main character and the villain are both doing this to each other. So they are both.
That's an interesting premise.
Yeah. So where like, the vibe that I got is like the voiceover is from the villain's perspective, and they are talking about, or like they're talking about the villain of like, oh, they can just do whatever, like, because they'll just go back and change things to like get themselves in power or whatever. And then they also showed it from the first person perspective where it's like the character is going back and then coming back, and they were doing like flashes where it was like you go back and things are like really silver and old, and you go back to the future and it's gold and like things are different. So, it's very steampunk, time manipulation mechanics and stuff like that. And it's a first-person shooter. So hopefully the first-person shooter mechanics are better and more well fleshed out than BioShock Infinite. But the aesthetic was definitely along the lines of like Columbia and that sort of a thing. And, with the ideas of like switching between different places and causing things to change, which is also very BioShock Infinite. And I mean, the game looks great. It looks very interesting. The powers look kind of interesting. So yeah, I'm excited. So.
You have my attention even just from In Exile, but like that definitely sounds like a good glow up. Yeah. But like, I don't know if you played Wasteland 3 or not, but that is, highly recommended because that is genuinely one of the most like consequences matter of any kind of modern CRPG. Like whole sections of game will change dramatically based on your decisions, and
I love that
they're
stuff.
quite happy to let you just fuck around and find out, frankly. So
I love
you give them time travel, I'm like, all right, let's see what you got. You have my attention.
Now I'm even more excited. Yeah, this is definitely one of my most anticipated games at this point, which is great. Like BioShock fans are in such a great spot right now because we've got Judas from Ken Levine, who's the mind behind like BioShock 1 and BioShock Infinite. We've got whatever the the studio that Ken left behind that's still at 2K that's making an actual BioShock game. And then we've got this Clockwork Revolution, which is by inXile, but it also looks like it is kind of very BioShocky. So we're gonna be, we've put in the time.
And if that won't do it, you have the System Shock remake, which just came out by Night Dive Studios, and is apparently pretty good. So yeah.
I'm excited. I want to play more. I want to play that. I don't think I'm trying to remember if I actually dove into the demo or not. But yeah, I'm excited to check that out as well. As somebody who got big into BioShock but never played any of the System Shocks, but has heard great things about them.
I couldn't get into BioShock as much because I had played System Shocks and Deus Ex, so it is what it is. Good games, all, but yeah.
Yeah.
Next, Atlus's Project Refantasy actually existed. It wasn't vaporware.
Yeah.
What a novel concept. So, those not in the loop, years and years ago, before Persona 5 even came out, Atlus teased that they were doing a fantasy game called, just the working title was Project Refantasy. And we saw a couple of bits of key art and concept art. It was like, cool. And then they went silent. And then we never heard from it again. And a couple of people speculated, like, where is it? I don't think it was ever like canceled or anything like that. But just this year, I remembered it and went, I wonder if that is going. And then this pops. And we have Metaphor Refantasio, which is new RPG, looks very Persona, but it is
so stylish.
It is very clearly this. It is very clearly Project Refantasy. That super Atlus style, crazy looking stuff. And yeah, like I watched the trailer beforehand and I have no idea what the hell is going on. And I so want to.
Yeah, I was like, at first I was like, wait a second, is this Shin Megami Tensei? And then they went further and further and further, and I'm like, is this Persona 6? And then they're like, surprise, sucker, it's neither, But yeah,
it's neither,
but both, basically, yeah.
And Shoji Meguro, flexing his composing as always, with this one super epic and grandiose as opposed to the kind of rock edge he has.
Yeah.
So all right, you've been learning from Catherine apparently.
Yeah.
And it just has the same, like everything about it looks stylish in terms of gameplay, menus, presentation, all of it. It's like Persona 5 is like the most stylish game to have ever existed. This is carrying that forward. You have my attention, Atlus. Let's see it.
Yeah. It is so crazy to see a game where and this is from the team that did Persona 3, 4, and 5, which are that's an
one and all excellent game.
Yeah, an awesome run of games. We're going to talk about Persona 3 in a bit.
Persona Sickos eating well today.
Indeed. But it is crazy to see a game from Persona 4 to Persona 5. The jump in menu, just juiciness, is the jump is ridiculous. And to see a game that jumps so far beyond Persona 5 to look like Metaphor Refantasio, that, it's nuts. Where the menus in this make the menus in Persona 5 look kind of pedestrian, which is so crazy. That's just a ridiculous thing. But yeah. Can't wait. It's gonna be great.
They saw Across the Spider-Verse and were like, bet.
Yeah, exactly. Say less, fam. We got you. Cool. All right, what's next?
Let's see. The studio behind Spiritfarer has revealed 33 Immortals. Co-op action game. Interesting. Again, I heard somebody talk about this one, actually. So it's like, it's 2-player co-op. Peels back. 4-player co-op. Peels back. 8-player co-op. Peels back. It has 33-player co-op.
Crazy.
What that means, aside from, so it's Battlefield. I don't know.
Yeah.
But how that's actually going to be executed, hard to say. But just given the pedigree, Spiritfarer, very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Very, very good.
Hit me right in the feels.
And beautiful too. Yeah.
Oh, and absolutely gorgeous. Very stylized again. And just, have my attention again. need to watch this trailer in full properly once I'm done.
Yeah. So on this next one, I was like, wait a second. What is this? Is this Payday 3? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is Payday 3. Payday 3 is coming. Looks super sick. People are super into Payday 2. And, I mean, this is just, it looks great. It looks like it's more of the same chaotic madness.
Yeah, Payday 2 is just, it's nuts. It's great fun.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. So, yeah, I didn't play nearly as much as I could have, so I will probably play a lot more of this one.
Yeah.
I am hoping it delivers.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
So, speaking of Persona, you all like Persona 3? No?
Yeah.
Well, let's fix that.
Yeah, exactly. It's my favorite Persona game.
I still like 5 better, but I respect that. I think it goes 5, 3, 4. Yeah. Shout out to 2 though. 2's good.
I have not played 1 or 2. I played 3, 4, and 5. I played 3, 4, and 5, but I only played Persona 3 Portable. I played Persona 4 Golden, and then I played both base. I played base Persona 5, then I reviewed Persona 5 Royal and got the platinum in it.
Very nice.
Because I'm a maniac. But
I played the base game of each of them, and that's about it. I haven't played Golden. I'm working through Portable because they released it on Switch, and I've just been chipping away at it on my off days. And I didn't play Royal, though I have it and need to get to it someday. But all of them great. I'm also a big fan of Shin Megami Tensei in general, so very big fan of particularly 3, but 5 was also a real good hit.
Yeah.
So
did you play any of the Devil Survivor games or any of that?
Yeah, played them all. pretty much played them all.
Nice.
Devil Survivor 2 really, I don't know. I found that super compelling. First one didn't quite grab me as much, but 2, I just sat down and it consumed my week. So
nice. I have not branched out too much in that family, although I do think that, there's like the Square family of RPGs, where you've got you've got Final Fantasy, you've got Dragon Quest, you've kind of got like the Bravely,
the Mana games, the
series.
Saga games, the Bravely, your just Team Asano stuff in general.
You got a lot of those. You've got some other RPGs from other studios, and then you've got this like Sega Atlus family of RPGs. Both the ones sprouting off from Shin Megami Tensei, and then like some of the other ones. And I think probably for my money, the kind of Atlus family that got grandfathered into Sega now is kind of like where I prefer to live the most now. I feel like just the level of quality that they deliver on is pretty great. So
I find them second only to Neon Falcom, the Trails of series, extended series. And they carry.
Yeah.
Those are carried by the narrative and the writing. So, the Atlus stuff just kicks it out of the park in terms of presentation, and I am all about it. So, Persona 3 getting full remake.
Unfortunately, it has come out that this is a remake of like the base version of the game, so we're not going to have the FES stuff. We're not going to have the portable stuff, which is a shame, but at least we're getting this. I don't know. I'm kind of
it's
just
true. They did just backpedal that though. Like there was a tweet saying to clarify some of the story elements from that is still going to be put back in there. It's like okay, but I'm getting mixed signals from that, so I'd take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, and it's disappointing because particularly with the FES or portable versions, like you could play as like a female protagonist, which I really like. Now, granted, the female protagonist I don't think is the canon protagonist. I think that
she's not, but it is still just interesting because like different social links and whatever will be available and not available and such.
Yeah,
and
I thought it was
just
great.
interesting to see how.
Yeah, I loved playing as her, but I do think that it is potentially notable that like while all of that content is great, them going with the base version isn't necessarily like a huge loss because like they could still add that later.
They could add it later, and that is still like the core primary story. Like all the FES stuff touches on like it's sort of like an extended epilogue of the events of the base P3. And, you know, the main P3 one is the canon one, taking it forward into like, you know, the Persona 4s and your arenas and Ultimaxes and such, where Elizabeth shows up and hints at, hey, by the way, that's still going on.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
which is, so while I am definitely with the general public of like, dang it, like you could have just made like the definitive version of P3 that had like everything in it, and I wanted that. I'm also still just pretty excited that we're getting Persona 3 brought forward at all, because it is my favorite story. It's got literally both of the best girls in the entire series in it.
Yep.
In Yukari and Mitsuru. It's got several of the best boys, and like just I think the cast is like like this is kind of how I look at these games, is like, how's the cast, how's the story, how's the atmosphere. Persona 3 has the best atmosphere of 3, 4, 5. It's super sinister, it's really dark. I really like it. I think it has the best cast because there are like weak links in 4 and 5 that 3 just doesn't have. Like every character in 3 is really good.
I also feel like there is a lot, like it has the most thematic consistency, I think. It's like, here is the theme word, death.
Yeah.
Every single character, every social link ties into this concept and explores some facet of it in some way to really interesting degrees.
Yeah.
Genuinely fascinating explorations of the concept. And
I think that's a great point. And I think that because of that, it also feels far more cohesive as an entire game than those other two.
I agree.
There are definitely times in 4 and 5 where I'm just like, I almost have like whiplash, you know.
Wait, why am I here? What does this have to do with anything?
Yeah, why are we at the beach? Like, why are we doing that? Whereas like when you go to the beach in Persona 3, it still feels like you're playing the same game. Like I'm not really sure, how to explain it in so many words, but like when you go on the beach thing, it feels like it's kind of out of nowhere in Persona 4. In Persona 5, when certain characters are introduced, like particularly Haru, I'm just like, man, this whole
isn't landing.
Section of the game is just not it. Like, I just don't understand. And honestly, I feel like to kind of a lesser extent, like the painter section felt like kind of weird for me. So there's, whereas other things where it's like all the stuff with Akechi, I'm like, yo, this is great. Like all of this is great. A lot of the stuff with, Yu Narukami and Hanako and, and Adachi and Yosuke. Like Yosuke is amazing. Like that guy is me. Like, Yosuke is me. And I played him in Persona 4 Arena because of that, because I really identify with this character. But like, I don't really like Yukiko or Chie. Like there's a lot of like, I feel like I like some of the characterization, but they don't really feel like full people in the way that like Junpei in Persona 3 feels like a person. Akihiko,
he's a dude you've met. You've met Junpei, right?
Yeah, Yukari, these all feel like people. Even Ken, and Koromaru.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you have a dog
who isn't a person.
Yeah,
but he feels like a people.
Yeah, but like, and I feel like some of that stuff in 4 and 5 they tried to recapture with Teddy and with Morgana, and it just didn't really hit with me in the same way. Like, and I feel like because of that, like 4 and 5 are more interested in introducing like levity and stuff, whereas like Persona 3 is fine with you like sitting in the darkness. And I feel like because of that, because it's not afraid,
it lets it speak for itself.
It feels like it's never trying to. Persona 3 is never saying, just kidding, or like there's never a moment where it's just like, now enjoy the comic relief character. Like there is that. Like Junpei is that. Like he's comic relief, but like at the same time, he's still going through stuff. Like it feels
his reactions feel natural, and when the time comes for him to hurt, that is almost like the humor is almost how he's coping.
Yeah.
Because he goes through some hurt. He goes through some real hurt.
Yeah, and I feel like that is just one example of how Persona 3 is like of a piece. And because of that, like I am excited to play the Persona game that I like more than that, but I'm not expecting that because like Persona 3 is like fantastic. And I cannot wait to play it again.
I am very keen to get my hands on this.
And early next year. So that's going to be
sweet.
That's going to be really, really awesome. I don't know if they've said anything about this. I would almost certainly expect this to also come to PC, Switch, PS5. You know, I imagine because Sega and Atlus are like very kind of Switch friendly. I don't know that this would run. The next game certainly would. But I also imagine they would figure out a way to make it work.
Yeah, I doubt it's going to be an exclusive. It'll be on as much as they can. If they can get it working on the Switch, more power to them. But I would expect to see it on PS as well. So, yeah.
But it is nice to see the relationship between Xbox and Atlus and the Persona team in particular to continue because I think that it's great. Because like Persona fans have been, you know, isolated in one place for a really long time, and it's nice to see, you know, people who are big Xbox fans be able to jump in.
Yeah, absolutely. But the Persona train does not stop there. We have a spin-off game, a new one for Persona 5 called Persona 5 Tactica.
It's a tactics game, guys. It's a
tactics game. So, yeah, you and I eating good. I know that much.
Tactical sickos are eating well.
Yeah. Not much to say beyond that. It's like, there's like a minute trailer. It looks very, standard Fire Emblem SRPG kind of thing.
Yep.
Hopefully plays good. Hopefully has some, good systems and such in there. It still looks very Persona 5, although it does have the chibi art style of the PQs, the Persona Quest, Persona Qs, whatever they call it.
Which is cool. Like I definitely, you know, we talked at length about why I feel like Persona 3 is kind of the best Persona game. I definitely do not mind that Persona 5 is getting all this love. Now, the only thing that remains, Atlus, I'm looking at you. Where is Persona 5 Arena? Where is it?
They couldn't get Oxus. They were too busy killing it with Guilty Gear. That's why. That's why.
It's, you know what? That's fair. That's fair. But
I want it. I'm with you. I want it.
You are not off the hook. You have announced all of these other games.
To me.
And let me tell you, Atlus, don't go away. Don't walk away. Come back. Please, Atlus, come here. Now, I got to tell you, I love what you're doing. I love that you're bringing Persona 3 back. I love that you're giving me a tactics game. This is great. Our relationship, it's so good. I love you. You love what I'm doing, buying all these games, playing all these games, you know, talking about them. But come on. We can make things so much better. Come back to me. Persona 5 Arena. Come on. You know
That'd be nicer to streamers. Come on.
You know the people want it. You know I want it. You know I'm going to play it. Baby, come on. Stop playing with me.
You put rollback in Ultimax. It's good. You can do it.
It's great.
I believe in you.
It's great. It's in my top 3 fighting games of all time. Might be top 2.
Same.
Come on, give me Persona 5 Arena. Anyways, that's all we got to say about that.
Also, port Digital Devil Saga 1 and 2 to more systems, please, and thank you. Carry on.
Yes. All right, so that's enough of Tactica. We've got... This is a thing for my Sea of Thieves sickos out there. We got a Monkey Island crossover. What? All right. Makes perfect sense.
I dig it.
Looks cool. Guybrush Threepwood. Looks pretty neat. I'm still not going to play it because I'm freaked out of the scary beasts in the ocean. So I'm going to leave that to all you sickos that can tolerate that.
Yeah, I haven't played much Sea of Thieves myself, but I know people who do, and more power to them. So, yeah.
Cool. Then we got Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. They got a Dune crossover where you're going to be able to be in one of those Dragonfly helicopters and stuff like that. I still don't know jack snap about Dune, but
I do. It's excellent.
Whenever the sequel movie comes out, maybe it's already out. I don't know.
Highly recommend the first book. It's one of my favorites. So
yeah. Josh has told me that it would be right up my alley. I just have not gotten to it yet, but who knows? Who knows? I'm about to be on a 2-week vacation, so maybe I'll see if I can read one of those books or listen to an audiobook or something like that. But yeah, cool little Dragonfly helicopter. Looks pretty neat. Yeah. What do we got next?
Yeah. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. That's going to be interesting for sure, because that first one was real sleeper hit.
Yeah. People really like it.
Yeah. Just theme and exploration and narrative and everything in that game was really friggin' good. What more can I say? It's kind of filled that double A niche at a time where I wasn't really being served, but delivered some really high impact shit that a lot of people vibe very highly with. And yeah, so the fact that there's a sequel, it looks good. That's all I can really say. Not for the time being. I haven't really followed too much of it since, but it's yeah, do that again. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. I hope the combat is better than the first one, and that's really all I can say about that.
And the first one was fine. It served the purpose.
Yeah. All right.
What I am more interested in is the next game.
Yeah.
Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. One of the dumbest and most hilarious reveal trailers I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
Ichiban wakes up naked on a beach in Hawaii. That's it. That's the trailer.
Nice.
And that's everything you need to know about the character, the series, and the rest. But yeah, no, this is the actual follow-up. This is Yakuza 8, the Like a Dragon 2, whatever you want to call it. I think they're ditching the numbers to avoid the confusion.
Yeah, gotcha. Infinite Wealth, the Mugen. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Okay, that's pretty good.
But yeah, there's that. But I also think they're just ditching the numbers in general, because there's a lot of them. They're split off the series into multiple different angles, and they're doing their own thing. It's yeah, now's probably the time for it. Yeah. But hey, I freaking adored Yakuza 7, Like a Dragon, whatever you want to call it. Loved it. Thought, I know Will's not a huge fan of it, but I thought they did the genre shift great. I do miss the brawling combat. It exists in other games, like Judgment, basically. And another game we'll talk about in a bit. But yeah, Ichiban's story was great. That game was great. It was a solid RPG. It still felt like a Yakuza game. All the side content and shenanigans and everything that I love, while also getting right deep into the melodramatic crime drama and all that. Excellent cast of characters. Fantastic game. Play Yakuza 7. Play Yakuza in general. Play Yakuza 0 as well. Play Yakuza 7.
Jeez,
and then
crazy,
when
man.
this comes out,
so much homework.
But do it.
All right.
Why aren't you playing Yakuza games? Do it. This is a general shout out to the universe. Anyway, play Yakuza. You'll thank me.
All
but
right.
Yeah. Yeah. Persona Sickos be eaten well. I'm a Yakuza Sicko, and I'm eating just as well. So, yeah, keen for more.
Nice. What do we got next?
There's a Fallout 76 expansion. Moving on. In all seriousness, I thought, and I think a lot of people, even the people still playing the game, thought it was done, abandoned, all hands on deck for Starfield. So more new stuff is kind of surprising to all involved. But hey, I hope you're getting served. I hope you're not serving up Bethesda too much money, because they don't friggin' deserve it.
Yeah.
Yeah, hope it's good. Move on. Don't care.
Okay.
Oh, so many games.
All right, so I just got a notification that I may not be able to talk about the stuff that I went and saw. So we can leave that for another time. We
can sprint through these then, and then talk Diablo, I guess.
Yeah, and then if we want to talk about my preview as well. But yeah, we can. Yeah,
of course.
That. Cool.
So next game is a Capcom game. that they'll probably talk about more in the showcase, but it is called Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess. Described as an action-focused game with horror themes and a colorful aesthetic. Yeah, it looks like Okami meets Ghostwire Tokyo, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Just haven't seen if there's gameplay in this trailer yet. But
there is, yeah. If you go to like 145, there is some.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Looks like third-person action, fast-paced, dodge rolls, these sorts of things. Very, very colorful. Very interesting.
Yeah, that's why I feel like Okami is the accurate descriptor there. Yeah. I mean, it's probably running RE engine, so it probably looks fantastic and plays pretty good too.
Yeah. Yeah,
Capcom's on a tear at the moment.
They really, really, really are. They really are. It's crazy. So yeah, and that's like all of these. Like I think all of these are going to be on Game Pass, which has been nuts. Like so, this one is also going to be on Game Pass. So it's great. Like if you're a Game Pass subscriber, which like, I mean, to be honest, why would you not be?
It's the best deal in gaming, and for whether you like it or not, it's like just sign up, go get some games. Seriously, I don't blame you.
Yeah, exactly.
Next, we have from the creators of the Banner Saga games, Towerball. Co-op adventure in an ever-changing world. Does that mean it's a live service? Please don't tell me it's a live service. We've got enough of those already.
It doesn't look like one.
No.
But, yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Similar art style and such to the Banner Saga, from what I've seen. And I hear good things about the Banner Saga, though I never did sit down and actually play them. So,
it's great, man. I reviewed all 3 of those games for Nintendo. They're fantastic. Yeah, they're really
like
really
perhaps
good.
the only major strategy games I haven't really played in recent memory. So I should really get.
They are exceptional, and they are definitely one of those games. If you like making choices and have those choices have consequences, you need to play the Banner Saga.
Yep, it's been on the backlog for friggin' ever, so I'll get to it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Really, really good.
But this new game looks pretty. Definitely pretty. I'm curious to see how it plays out in the long run.
Looks Banner Saga is like literally one of the most beautiful games ever made. It's ridiculous.
Fair.
Yeah, it's great.
Is this a side scroll? It almost looks like a side scrolling.
Yeah.
Kind of like beat 'em up style,
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, Banner Saga is like, this was doing that like kind of dour fantasy world, kind of like Game of Thrones, but before Game of Thrones was big.
Fair.
But yeah, it's good. It's good. Now we're getting to the ones that I have not seen anything about.
Yeah, this is where a lot of the indies and AA and such are coming in.
All right, let's
There's a short teaser trailer here for Still Wakes the Deep. We'll just sprint through these, shall we?
Yeah.
Death Stranding on an oil rig. Maybe.
Yeah.
First person looks... Okay, more like Resident Evil 7 on an oil rig. Could be fun.
Yeah.
Not much to glean from the teaser trailer, though, but yeah, you have my attention. What's next?
We got Dungeons of Hinterberg, which running around, side-scrolling, doing some minecart stuff, exploration. It looks pretty neat.
Yeah, I like the art style. Cel-shaded. Very nice.
Yeah, not just side-scrolling, but like also like, arena combat, kind of like Bastion, some traversal, some puzzle solving, stuff like that. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, my sincere apologies to all the indie devs out there who are just, screaming at me for not having actually sat down and watched it. I'm sorry. I wasn't there for the actual showcase. So
yeah,
you probably deserve more attention than I'm giving. Apologies. I'll, be sure to give it a proper look.
Yeah, we got Elder Scrolls Necrom also, which is coming out in 8 days. It's more Elder Scrolls.
More Elder Scrolls Online. It looks good. It's got a new class. It's focusing on a part of Morrowind, which is not in Morrowind itself, but it is in the Tamriel Rebuilt mod, and it's friggin' excellent there because the Tamriel Rebuilt mod friggin' slaps. Shout outs to it. Hi, Morrowind fanboy over here. So yeah. as a lapsed ESO player, I'll probably go back in to check this out because the new class and it's Morrowind. Like, I'm a mark. I'm sorry.
It's also leaning into the Eldritch, which is always
Yeah.
very welcome for me as a big Lovecraft fan.
Hermias Mora is front and center. So, lots of Lovecraftian towers of books and tentacles and green fog and shit.
Yep.
Good times.
And that is what the new class is based on, is like making Eldritch bargains and all these sorts of things. So
The Arcanist.
That's exactly what I'm into. If
That's
there's an outer god
me.
that's making a bargain for power, I'm taking the deal. Like, you just gotta. That's all you had to say.
Yeah. I'll see what that's about. Yeah, I'll hear you out.
Yeah.
City Skyline 2 coming out in October. This one got announced previously. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that style of game, even though I'm big into like city builders, just not that kind of city builder. So, but that there is a niche there that absolutely loves this, and I hope you're well served by it. So carry on.
Yeah, my general understanding is that SimCity used to be the gold standard. That is no longer the case.
Very much true. Yes.
Yeah, City Skylines is supposed to be just incredible, and from everything that they were showing on this one, like just the ideas, the kind of like the gameplay elements and stuff like that. I mean, it looks awesome. So if you're a city builder fan, like, come on, you're definitely going to be paying attention to this one.
You've already bought it. What are we talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
What are we doing here?
I mean, it's going to be on Game Pass, so like, yeah, you kind of did.
Yeah, if you're not sure, give it a go.
Yeah.
And last is Dontnod's game.
Yeah.
I don't know how you would pronounce this, and I don't want to make a fool of myself.
I'm just going to say Juiciness, because why not?
Or Jusson? I don't know.
It's got a little bit of a Jusson.
That's a Juiciness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hard to say. Not a huge fan of Dontnod's general stuff, but like, it looks pretty, and they have their niche, and people love it. So, again, more power to them.
Yeah, I liked Wampir good enough, but yeah, didn't blow everybody's skirts up, including my own. Although I thought that was one of those situations where I thought that the ideas were far and away better than the execution. Although I still thought that the execution was decent. Like, to me, that's like definitely, like we were talking about earlier, firmly within the AA space. Which like doesn't really exist that much right now. Although there are some devs that are kind of bringing back that vibe, which I find welcome.
We're getting more into it, and I appreciate that. I think a lot of it is just because there's been so much like talent bleed from a lot of the bigger studios, just getting enough people saying enough is enough. We're done with this. We're going to make our own one.
Yeah, I don't want to work for 10 years on something that's then, gonna not live up to the ridiculous expectations of it, and then the studio gets shut down.
I don't want to make Redfall. Yeah.
Yeah. Although Arcane is safe so far as we know,
You say that, but there was almost certainly talent bleed on that project just for that alone. And even
for sure, I think they said that, right? I think they said that like.
I think so.
And the fact that or was it another dev where they were like, yeah, like 75% of the people who started working on this are not there anymore.
Yeah, I feel like there was an expose about it recently, and a number like that did come up. And even if not that number, or the fact that there is, ex Arcane Studios formed the studio that made Weird West, and then made Weird West, and it was good. So yeah. Unfortunately, the Arcane that we know and love probably doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately. Much like BioWare, it's a name only.
Yeah.
Alas.
It was absolutely Redfall. Most of Arcane Austin, this is PC Gamer, report most of Arcane Austin's Prey veterans quit during Redfall's development, and the ones that stayed hoped Microsoft would cancel it. Wow.
Yeah.
Around 70%, yeah.
It doesn't get more damning a headline than that, does it?
Yeah, that sucks. Yes, I'm imagining they were hoping that they would cancel it because like it's going to hurt the studio reputation, and also if they cancel it, then you can start working on something else.
Yeah.
That you
We don't
actually
wanna
believe
ship
in, that's
this.
actually going to pull through, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, really sucks.
Yeah, it does.
But as a result, the AA space is, filled with lots more talented vets, and things like this game are coming out. So, hey,
Cool.
I need to watch a trailer for Juiciness. But yeah, and that wraps up the showcase for Xbox.
Yeah.
Good stuff overall, honestly. Like, I feel like I had more positive stuff to say about this one than I did the Sony one last time. Mainly because a lot less live services that were all just like, this is going to be dead in 6 months after launch anyway,
Yeah.
There's a lot less of that.
Yeah, I feel like this was definitely, I liked this showcase more. I thought that they were like, unlike with the PlayStation thing where it was like, oh yeah, like this is cool. I'm not into this, but this is cool. There were like way more games on this one where I was like, yeah, I'm definitely playing that. Yeah, I'm definitely playing that. Yeah, I'm going to get that. You know what I mean? Like there was a lot more of that for me. Now granted, like I'm sure a lot of these games are not just going to be on Xbox. But
almost certainly they're going to be platform, like multi-platform, because that's just Xbox's MO these days. So like, we're just providing the infrastructure and the the platform, I guess. You can go there, you don't have to.
Yeah.
And
but also like because I'm going to have Game Pass, like it kind of doesn't matter.
Exactly. We can pick it up and try it out and see where we want to put our time and money in. So yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so we're running. We're like around an hour and a half. Did we want to do the other ones real quick? Or shall we move
they're
on
a little
to
more
something else?
They're a little more focused, and frankly, just Ubisoft is Ubisoft. It's like every game that they announce is an Ubisoft game.
Yeah.
They're all Assassin's Creed, even when they're not Assassin's Creed. Even the car games are Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
But they did show gameplay of a Prince of Persia game. Interesting.
Yes, which I'm excited.
Metroidvania.
I am excited about, because I'm a big Prince of Persia fan, and
I want to love Prince of Persia, but like, there was Sands of Time, and there was the early stuff, and that's about it. All the others have been very mixed and mid, and then they just did Assassin's Creed for like 20 games in 10 years.
Yeah, it really disappointed me when they're like, oh, forget Prince of Persia. Let's do this inferior thing in Assassin's Creed. And I'm like, don't you guys understand how much worse, how much Assassin's Creed is just not as good as Prince of Persia? Don't you guys understand? Like, look at
we have to make open world games, and Assassin's Creed does big open world.
It does, and I know it's probably more popular because why would they continue it if it wasn't more popular? But like, come on, guys. I
mean,
look me in the eyes and tell me that Assassin's Creed is better than Prince of Persia. You can't do it.
You can't.
You can't do
it. The best Assassin's Creed game is not as good as the best Prince of Persia game. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sands of Time is too good.
I was going to say Warrior Within. The best
fair.
Assassin's Creed game is not as good as Prince of Persia Warrior Within. Like, it's just not. I defy you to tell me any Assassin's Creed game that is as good as Prince of Persia Warrior Within. You can't do it. You can't do it. And I'm sorry. I feel bad for you. I feel bad for you, and I feel bad for the company that keeps doing it to you, because you could have the gold.
Instead, Assassin's Creed and Ubisoft games in general have hit that point of just, it's not even like I hear it and I'm just like disgusted or tired. I feel nothing anymore. It's like Ubisoft announces Assassin's Creed game. I feel nothing. Pure apathy. It's just they have burnt out and then burnt out the burnout, and no one cares.
Now
I'm sure people do care, but it sure as hell doesn't feel like it. Everyone's just like, okay, move on. No one talks about this stuff.
And as it has been said, the opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is indifference. And that's what they're engendering here with this. But they're bringing back Prince of Persia. And not only are they bringing back Prince of Persia, but is a 2D Prince of Persia with what we previously would have called Metroidvania elements, but now we're all aboard the ape train. Action platforming exploration, baby. You forgot about
the
that,
Super
didn't you?
Metroid Lux. It was in the back of my mind. I was like, we had a name for this, and he's going to bring it up. And I'm like, there it is. There it is. Okay. Ape Train.
So it's a 2D ape game, and I'm really excited.
Oh, that's too good.
I'm so glad to make you lose it off that. That's great.
Something about the sincerity of the statement. Okay.
Yeah, it's great.
But yeah,
It's
okay.
great.
Real talk. The ape game looks pretty good. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. I hope it's good. And then there's the gameplay. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
So it says right here, semi-open world, which is normally or open world is a red flag in 3D games. In 2D games, not the same case. Not the same case.
Because at that point, it's an ape game. It just means you can go in different directions and get certain upgrades and go back to various points with it. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. All right. Yeah, but man, I can't.
You got me.
I can't wait. I can't wait. And along those same lines of 2D apes, I just got a press release that Nocturnal is out, which is another game that I saw at PAX. I did not know that it was so imminent, but I had a lot of fun with that at PAX, and so I'm excited to see if I can jump into that later to kind of wet my whistle while I wait for Prince of Persia to come early next year.
Awesome. Keep me posted. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah. We got, of course, because it is Assassin's Creed, we've got Assassin's Creed Jade, we've got Assassin's Creed Nexus, we've got Assassin's Creed Mirage, which we talked about previously. Man, I don't really think, I guess we got The Crew, we've got some other stuff. Nothing
Defiance
really.
Actually launching. The Division Resurgence is coming out. It's a mobile game, so whatever.
Yeah, I didn't really care about anything else.
Skulls and Bones closed beta coming in August. Ha 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 ha. No, it's not.
Yeah, I will believe that game is coming out when it is in not my hands because I'm not getting it, but in whoever else's hands.
It has I don't know if you heard about the situation with that game. It has to come out. It has to be developed because they made a deal with Singapore and the dev team. Like they are on the hook with the Singapore government. It's like, you are releasing this game.
Oh yeah, because it's been partially funded. Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if it's bad. It doesn't matter if no one plays. It doesn't matter if it's a massive flop. It's coming out at some point.
Because you are legally required to witness the release of Skull and Bones, which is so silly.
One day at some point.
Yeah, one day at some point it will come out. But yeah, that's pretty much. I don't know if you had any other thoughts about the Ubisoft showcase, but yeah.
Apparently, there is an anime based on Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon.
Yeah, which...
okay.
Yeah.
Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon remix. Okay. I'll sit down and watch that, absolutely. God, yeah. And then, of course, Star Wars Outlaws got a 10-minute gameplay showcase, which I'll have to watch afterwards, but I'm keen to do so. Also, an Avatar game.
Yeah.
Avatar
The Last Airbender?
No. Avatar, the blue people, James Cameron's fetish,
Yeah.
James Cameron discovers nature documentaries. Yeah.
So, do you think that James Cameron is to furries what Tarantino is to foot fetishists?
I'm going to have to process that question for a while, I think. That is a... Are they really furries? Do they quantify? Furry friends in the audience, let me know.
Yeah, let me know. Or if there's some other term that you would prefer, when the people are not like super furry, but maybe they have like sex hair or something,
I'm not a furry, but
I'm not a furry, but if you look like Jake Sully, DM me.
Also, I'm not a furry, but could, summarize the plot of Tears of the Kingdom. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, no, not much to say on Ubisoft as a result. I'll check the Star Wars Outlaws and get back to you. But yeah,
Yeah.
don't care. Do not care.
All right. What else?
Capcom did a thing. Capcom do lots of things, and they're usually pretty good. So what do we got? They did a deep dive for gameplay for Dragon's Dogma 2. Awesome. I need to watch that later. I haven't watched it yet. I am very keen to see that game because the first game was a very interesting set of concepts which didn't always come together, but it's the kind of game that has become more appreciated over time. It's like it didn't really land at launch, but it's like more people go back and go, this was onto something.
It's definitely developed a cult following for sure.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see.
Yeah.
I said the world is 4 times the size of the original. That actually turns me off, but that's just how it is with games these days.
Yeah.
I prefer the focused, experiences. But like, hey, Elden Ring can pull it off. Maybe they can.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably can. They're Capcom. They're on a tear. So,
and like honestly, like of the big publishers that have done open world games, I feel like Capcom is one where like they don't do it unless they need to do it. Cause like Resident Evil is not open world, Street Fighter 6 is kind of like, they kind of added
in a way, but yeah.
But like the big Capcom open world game is Monster Hunter. And
even that's not fully open world per se. It's still kind of like level based. You can just go into a bigger area, and it's more just like a really big multifaceted level as opposed to an open world.
Yeah. So
there's always a handful of them.
One of the things that I'm kind of getting at is like, we look at Ubisoft and it's like, okay, everything is open world. All the things are open world. We're going to put stuff all over the maps. This is just what we do. And Capcom
map markers and checklists.
Capcom doesn't do that. Like, they're not on the all aboard the open world train.
The forever game, yeah.
And so when they're putting out a game and they're like, this is open world and it's big, I'm more inclined to be like, okay, I'll hear them out.
Yeah.
Because they don't seem to be drinking the Kool-Aid that like, oh, every Bethesda game is open world. Like, even the Bethesda published games are seemingly, with your Redfalls and different things like this, like they're seemingly being pushed to be more open world than they even need to be.
Yeah,
things like
absolutely.
this. But yeah, so I'm curious, and I have definitely been told that as a person who loves wizards and spellcraft and things like that Dragon's Dogma is like the thing that gets it right. So I am definitely open and interested. Obviously, the 4 times the size of the world of the original. I don't have a frame of reference for that because I don't know how big the original was, but I am a little scared off by that. But at the same time, like I have heard that like the meat and potatoes of those of that original game does stuff with magic that like basically nothing else does. So I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I need to dig into Dragon's Dogma sometime soon, I think.
Yeah. This next news was a bummer for me because I thought that this game definitely gave me like Kojima vibes, which is like
the first reveal trailer was like, is this a Death Stranding trailer? What is this?
Yeah. I was definitely really interested. Pragmata unfortunately has been delayed indefinitely from 2023 to an unknown year. So
at some point in the future, they will release it when they feel it's ready.
Not a great look, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I'd rather they delay it than not. Let's put it that way.
Yes. I don't want something like that is an interesting premise, like a Death Stranding, like, maybe even a Vanquish or something like bizarre, like where it's just like, this is like weird. This is like just unusual. We don't get a lot of games that like hit on those like kind of uncanny, like surrealist kind of vibes.
Certainly not in the AAA space or with a big name like Capcom attached to it. So
Yeah,
I think
so
that's what made it stand out the most.
exactly. Yeah, so when we get the opportunity to get one of those, I'm like, just take your time, which is how I feel generally about most things. But certainly in this case, when I think that there is an interesting, maybe not idea, but an interesting atmosphere and interesting feel that we don't often get. So, yeah.
Yeah, keen. But take your time. What do we got then? We have,
Apollo
they are getting,
Justice.
yes, HD remasters in a compilation coming to literally everything by the look of it.
Yep.
Switch, PC, all the systems. Awesome.
Yep.
Not a huge Ace Attorney mark, but I know plenty of people who are. And yeah, awesome. Can't go wrong with getting that available everywhere. Have you tried Exoprimal yet?
I have not, but I have definitely. I know a bunch of people who are going to be jumping into this open beta. So
yeah,
it's
June
16th to June 18th. I mean,
and it releases in like a month anyway, so it's probably a good. What you see is what you get there in that beta, I imagine.
Yeah, and
general previews of this game say it's actually pretty fun, but it's this more than any other thing Capcom is doing recently. It feels to me like the dead in 6 months kind of live service, but I hope it's not the case. But well, we'll see.
Yeah,
the core of it does seem pretty fun.
It was very interesting. I was playing Street Fighter 6 earlier today, and I popped in, and they're like, "Hey, the free pass and the paid pass are looking," and I like literally looked into it, and it's like all Avatar stuff, which I literally could not care less about. And I'm like, "Oh, thanks Capcom for putting in this stuff that I literally could not care less about." So I can just very easily be like, "Yeah, thank you for giving me something and a live service like element that I can just ignore and never think about again." So that's kind of like,
it's there if you're into it. It's there if you want it. Hopefully you're not sucking into it too bad, but you're just like, no, thanks. I'm here to punch fools.
Yeah. But yeah, should be cool. Looks like big dumb fun. And I think we all need a bit of big dumb fun in our lives. Speaking of big dumb fun,
they're not going to be able to out EDF though.
Yeah, but I think they'll be able to get people who won't play EDF.
That is true. That is true. Capcom has more of a draw than the EDF games.
Yeah,
that they probably should.
Yeah. Speaking of big dumb, Ghost Trick remaster coming out on June 30th, and there's a demo right now, and your save data carries over to the main release. And it's on Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. So if you want to play an old, formerly exclusive Nintendo DS game, then do it.
Enough people have told me it's great and worth checking out over the years, so I'll probably end up doing so.
Yep. I'm definitely on those same vibes. Have not played it, but always was just like, oh, cool. Ghost Trick. Why not?
Sounds neat.
Yeah. And then we got, last thing, Mega Man X Dive Offline, coming to Steam, iOS, and Android. And God, can you guys please stop putting like awesome properties on just mobile game stuff, please?
Capcom has been doing this almost longer than most others. I just wish they'd give it up already. Yeah. Because, Breath of Fire died on the mobile Vine, and it's never coming back. And it's the one thing I want them to revisit because that series is great. But, and same with Mega Man. I would love a new Mega Man game. Instead, we get a mobile game.
Yeah.
There can be good mobile games, but they're always despite that, not because of.
Yeah.
And they're usually gotchas, at which point it's like, well, you just disqualify anyway.
It really stinks. And it's not like they've totally abandoned Mega Man. Like Mega Man 11 didn't come out that long ago. That was just 5 years ago. Or 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I played it in 2018, but I don't remember if it came out in 2018 or if it came out in 2019. But anyways, I liked it. I liked it a lot.
That was, I think the last few games have been done, like of any kind of Mega Man related stuff, have been done by Inti Creates. And Inti Creates has just gone off and done their own thing.
Yeah.
Very similar, like the Blaster Master Zero series, very good.
And Gunvolt.
Yeah. And Gunvolt is
Gunvolt 3 is
very
awesome.
Mega Man.
Gunvolt 3 is
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely.
I reviewed it for the show, so. Yeah,
so it sucks that Mega Man isn't getting the love, but that kind of style is being carried forward by the people who made the good Mega Man games in recent years. So shout out to Inti Creates and all your stuff. Check it out.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's all the showcase stuff.
Yeah, that's it. We've covered it all.
Cool. So let's see. What do you want to do? You want to cover the preview and then talk a little bit. Oh, excuse me. Some of my beer came
You're
up.
excused.
So what do you want to do? Let's handle Shadow Gambit and then maybe a little bit of Diablo 4 and then bounce?
Yeah, I think that's the way to do it. We'll cover your preview and then we can put a spoiler warning if need be and go from there.
Cool. All right. So right now you can go to IGN.com and search or search IGN Shadow Gambit. And you can find my preview. So I previewed Shadow Gambit: The Cursed Crew. I've been playing that for a while. I played the first act of the game. It should be about 25 hours long when it comes out, and it is coming to PC, PS5. Xbox Series. So it is by Mimimi Games, and these are the creators of Desperados 3 and Shadow Blade, or what is it? Shadow Tactics.
Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun. Yeah.
Yeah. So they made that, and this is a top-down isometric stealth strategy game set in a fantastical pirate world. So an alternate reality, this is a place called the Lost Caribbean, also called, like the archipelago is called the Timeless Isles. And this is very, very, if you're a fan of Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, that's sort of like, it's kind of a realistic world, but it also has like crazy elements of it, like zombie pirates and like
the touch of the supernatural in what is otherwise relatively grounded.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Shadow Gambit takes that like touch of the supernatural and amps it way up, where it's like, this is like all of the people in your crew are members of this like people group called the Cursed, and they are either dead. I think all of them are dead. They might just be, but there's like one that's a dryad. There's one that is dead that was run through with a sword, like an astral sword. There's another one where it's just like, there's a couple of them that are just like skeletons, but like they have like these crazy powers. Like one of them can teleport, and the other one can like create, can like turn the ground into water or whatever, and then go under the ground and wait. Kind of like the like Ravager Hydralisks from StarCraft and stuff. There's a big strong woman that has a cannon on her back, and it's got like a hook inside, so she can like pull people into it and then shoot them at other people. Like it's absolutely mental. It's really, really crazy. It is, as I say in my preview, it is one of my biggest surprises from this year. I think it's fantastic. It's really good. The characters are like really quirky and weird. And they're all like kind of exaggerated caricatures of like different kind of pirate tropes. So the main character, Afia, is Jamaican, and she plays like a very stereotypical but like amplified Jamaican dead pirate. And then there's Toya of the East, who's from Japan, and he is very stereotypically from Japan. You know what I mean? So there's, you've got your Irish pirates. There's all sort, like anything you're looking for. Like we got those tropes covered, and but in a way that feels like very appropriate for the world. So it doesn't feel, at least to me, Now, I am a white guy from America, so take that with however big an amount of whatever amount of salt you need. If you need a pinch, if you need a grain, if you need a heaping helping of salt, however much you
and toss
need.
on another handful because I'm pretty much the same except Australian. So
yeah. So I didn't think that any of the characterizations were offensive. I thought that it handled things pretty well. It's also like totally ridiculous. So like that's, another big part of it. But there are missions of all sizes. You're going after these artifacts called black pearls that can kind of revive dead members of this crew. You go on missions to find soul energy. The ship is a living being. The ship, the Red Marley, basically runs all of this stuff. You've got a skeleton crew. You're going around. You're trying to find pirate treasure and solve these mysteries while you fight against like a supernatural like Inquisition, basically. So it's like it's very cool. The Inquisition serves someone called the Burning Maiden, who gives them their own supernatural powers, like Spider-Man, like spider sense, where like the highest members of their clergy basically can't be killed directly, and so you have to like create crazy things that'll happen, with the environment that will kill them, where like they just don't see it coming. You can also pause and like set up multiple, type of attacks at once to like get really choice strategic, like powerful strategic situations. One of my favorites is, so Aphia, when she takes her sword out of her chest, she becomes like intangible and can basically do a blink assassination where she teleports a short distance and stabs somebody. Salady, the ship's doctor, is also a dryad, and she can create spores that she blows in people's face and makes them just walk away from her in a straight line. She can also cause bushes to sprout out. She throws seeds out and it instantly causes a bush to sprout out. So I had a great combination where I would have Aphia do her teleport strike on somebody, and at the same time I would have Salady throw the seeds on the person so that I would instantly be both the dead person and my crewmate would be inside of a bush. So I would kill somebody and then instantly get rid of the body and be hidden away. And it was awesome,
That's really neat. Yeah.
There's characters that can whistle and cause people to come to them. There's a character that can throw a coin and cause a distraction. There's a character that can possess other people's bodies and then like walk around as them and gain access to like secure locations and things. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do in this game, and it's like it's super fun. It's beautiful. It is definitely well voice acted and all that sort of stuff. I had an absolute blast, and I can't wait to play more.
So did you play any of the previous games, like the aforementioned Desperados 3 or Shadow Tactic?
So I did not. I have heard good things about them since then, but this was definitely my first me game. But man, I am sold for sure.
Yeah, this is basically their warehouse, right? Like the two previous games, as mentioned, are... You've described everything that they have is similar mechanics are already there in certain places, but all those games are grounded almost. It's like they are set in Japan. They are set in the Wild West. There's no super fantastical elements, things like that. It is, more what you see is what you get. Here are the characters. Here is their things. It's not anything out of history or supernatural powers or anything like that. But the core concept is still very similar. It's like we are doing stealth missions. We have stealth kills, certain things like that. Certain enemies are tougher to kill and need more elaborate such. But these games are great. They're not really my kind of thing because I tend to be too much of a perfectionist. And so rather than just letting the chaos play out, it's like I end up quick loading a lot. And it's like, get it right. And then I suck the fun out of it for myself.
Well, I may have some good news for you, because
do tell.
Quick save and quick load are actually parts of this game and parts of the story. So one of the Red Marley's powers is it has control over memory and time. So there is a straight up a button right on the screen that is capture memory and then restore memory. So they will capture those, and they very quickly they are all about iteration. Like, and I talked about this in my preview, but
awesome.
They are all about that. It is baked into the thing. The main character, when she finds out that the Red Marley can do this, she's like, well, no wonder that like the captain and his crew became legends, because you guys basically can't lose. And they talk about it, and they're, they are, the Aphia is like, are there any limits to this power? And she's like, only limits that are set by the captain. But the only difference is I can't restore a memory that's over a day old. But like, yeah, other than that, and the fact that it basically operates on the scale of like an island, like that's the area that it has control over. But within that, like your ship basically controls time. So being able to be like, capture a memory, try something, go back. And like, it's literally just like 2 or 3 button presses, and it's very fast also.
I am so in love with any game that takes that kind of established game mechanic thing and just pulls it into the narrative and just plays with it. I'm like, yes, you are speaking my language. Yes. Okay. And so the fact that they're acknowledging that helps it a lot, I feel.
Yes. So it is baked in, and exactly. In fact, there is a part of now this is probably not going to be for you, but it will be for other people. There are granular, I don't know if this exists in the other games. There are granular difficulty settings where like you can affect how much ammo that you have, how fast enemies react, how aggressive they are, like how much damage they do, how much health you and enemies do. And then there's also a difficulty setting for your memory captures. So in every difficulty, even in the highest difficulty settings, at which point the game is like, don't play this unless you've already beaten Shadow Gambit. No matter how good you are at this game, unless you've already done all these missions, don't do the hardest difficulty setting. That's how hard it is. Even on that level, you have unlimited memory captures, but you can also change that where you have like only 20, only 10 or 5 or 3 or 2 or 1 or whatever. Like, so you can, even if you really want to push it and be like, you only have this many like effectively quick saves, like you can play around in that space as well, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah. Okay. No, they are.
I knew it was not for you, but yeah.
Have me. No, you even like, maybe I won't switch that particular part off, but like, no, you have me. Like these games, again, they know what they're doing. Like the games in that style are extremely good, versatile, lots of different situations in which the comparative, like you don't have a huge amount of abilities for each character, but the situations in which you have to deploy them and the combinations of characters you have usually really keep you on your toes and keep things fresh. There's lots of little like optional objectives inside, things you can do in addition, little things you can find. And it's like, yeah, no, these games are great. And it sounds like they're doing that again, but it's like 3 games deep now. They know exactly what they're doing. They're really leaning into it. And the fact that they're now just branching out and going, we're gonna go supernatural. We're gonna go some fancy stuff. We're gonna get weird with it. And quite frankly, there's a dearth of good pirate games, right? Like you'd think there'd be more of them, but there aren't. There's just not enough of them. So anything like that, I'm like, yes, great. This sounds, sign me up. I'm interested for sure. You've sold me.
Yeah, one thing I also think is interesting, I'm not sure how much this is true with the other games, is that one of the biggest things that I like is that they give me tools and they give me, environmental kind of access to things like crates or cannons or whatever that I can like interact with to like take out enemies and things like that. They also, it's like in Hitman, you're like grabbing bodies and hiding them so that people don't get alerted and this sort of thing. But I really thought that because they give you like multiple stage starting points, and then there are multiple ways in and out of each of the like sub areas in each island. But within those, enemies are patrolling like they are in Hitman, like they are in these other sorts of games. And so like each, like it feels like each level is a bunch of like building blocks put together, and each one of those building blocks or sub areas is like a very specific encounter or puzzle that you have to solve. But the order in which you do all of them, or even how many you do at all, like you don't have to take out everybody. You can just get in and get out, and that's fine if you want to. But I really liked how like it felt at the same point kind of like open world, open concept, and then still very much like bespoke crafted encounters, and that sort of stuff. And that really like resonated with me. I'm not sure if the other game.
Yeah. No, that you're describing Desperados 3 very much so, I think. So,
cool.
Yeah. 100% that was a lot of what was good about those games, is that like there's almost like you have a main goal, a couple of things you need to do, but there's also like a checklist of different things you can do and how you go about them and such. And you can just make your own challenges of, I'm going to kill everybody. I'm going to do this, that, and the other thing. It's like, yeah, cool. So it's, again, sounds like they're leaning into it. Sounds like it's still just that. And they have a niche and they're sticking to it and they're perfecting it. So sounds awesome.
And something I think is really cool is that this is the first game that they are self-publishing. So this is their IP. They have all the rights to it, and they're both developing and publishing it, which means if this hits, they're going to be in a pretty good situation to continue doing whatever it is that they want to do, which I always love seeing that, particularly in development teams that do a good job, know what they're doing, and just are kind of iterating and improving on that. And like, I like Japan. I like the West. Okay. But this is definitely like a setting that I'm very much into, and, the supernatural aspect, the, magical aspect, I'm very into. I'm a big Pirates of the Caribbean fan. So like being able to go into a world that is like even crazier than that, maybe, I'm in,
Yeah, no, it sounds great. Sounds great.
Having played this and not being aware of this development team and their bona fides, I'm just like, well, this shot like to the top of my list of like most anticipated games of this year, which is a ridiculous thing to say in 2023, because how many freaking good games have already come out? How many good games like does it look like are going to continue to come out? Like, what is this year?
A good one. About time.
Yeah, it's a great one. It's fantastic. So anyways, that is that. So yeah, it's
Shadow Gambit, you say. When's it coming out?
Shadow Gambit, The Cursed Crew. Let me take a look. Oh, it might not actually have a release date yet. Hold on, let me check it.
Still TBD, but that's fine.
Oh, August
the previous
17th.
games. Okay, soon. Awesome. Yeah, no, I will probably wishlist that one, I think.
Yeah, it says on Steam August 17th, 2023. There you go. 2 months, baby.
Consider it wishlisted.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. If it's because of the high pedigree of this, it's kind of like the Playground Games thing, where it's just like I previewed it.
They have a base level, they're probably gonna hit.
Yeah, so I'm kind of like I'm fully expecting the high quality that I played in the first act to carry through to the final product. Like, why wouldn't it? So yeah, it's cool. It's good stuff. I'm big into it.
Very good. All right. Anything else we wanted to talk about or cover ahead of the big topic?
Oh man. Well, let's. All right. So here's what we're gonna do, ladies and gentlemen, viewers, listeners. We're gonna talk about Diablo IV. Now, we're gonna talk about Diablo IV in a spoiler-free way, because we're also gonna do a Diablo IV spoiler cast that we're gonna do as a separate episode. So we might not do that now. If you're watching that on the stream, we might not do that part now, but we're gonna figure it out. But what we
ran overly long here.
We've already been going 2 hours. So, but we definitely want to talk about this whether or not we also do the spoiler cast today or right after this or whatever, we definitely want to cover it. So, but you don't have to worry about spoilers. We're not going to talk about that, but we are going to talk about big picture. Kris and I have both beaten Diablo IV. I think Kris has also gone into a little bit of the post game, which I have not started yet because I was handling some other things as well. But I do want to get into that. So you don't need to worry about that, but this will be the last topic of the night. And then we are going to do a big, meaty, deep dive spoiler cast that is not in this
I want to
episode.
talk about the plot, but not here.
We want to dig in. We want to dig in deep because there is a lot to talk about. And I also know that Will was not able to make it tonight, but I know he does want to talk about this also. Particularly because...
might be best just to postpone just so we can bring Will along because I want to talk story with him. He knows his stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna be really good. And I know that he's played it several times and it has more experience with more characters than I do. But man, what a freaking
game.
Talking about what a year, what a game. Just top levels. How do you feel like now that you and I both beat this game over the weekend? How do you feel coming away from it?
I forgive you for the release state of Diablo 3. I forgive you for Error 37. I forgive you for the Disney friggin' Saturday morning cartoon plot that you turned it into. Because congratulations, you made Diablo 2 2.
Yeah.
You made a proper sequel at last. You hit it out of the park in terms of tone, atmosphere, music, presentation, story, writing, characters, and of course, gameplay, loot, systems. 100%. I was not expecting it to be so polished, so complete right out the gate, right? Like, it's a live service. It's going to be live service stuff. But it's like, this thing shipped, and it's like, yeah, we got a 6-act story. We got all that. We got a big open world. It's got a bunch of stuff. We got 5 fully fleshed out separate classes, all the items, and then like 3 endgame systems already here.
Yeah.
Good to go. The kind of thing that normally gets patched in later.
Yep.
It's like, this has already got more stuff and better than like Reaper of Souls a couple of seasons in.
Yeah.
This is incredible.
Yeah.
The value package, even if you never touch it again, you just buy it now for the price, play it. There is so much here.
Yeah.
It is incredible what they have done with this. And it's good. It's just at a consistent level of good. And I was not expecting it. I really was not expecting it to be this polished, this strong all the way through. And especially not from, modern Activision Blizzard, right?
Yeah. That is true. Now, what I will say is Diablo 4 is being led by somebody who is new to the Activision Blizzard family, which is Rod Ferguson, who comes from the Coalition, who was in charge of Gears 4 and 5, which are 2 great games.
Fantastic.
And so I have definitely heard people say that he is just a person that you want in charge of your projects, and that definitely seems to be the case. Now, I met Rod and the rest of the development team at the Coalition when I went to preview and to the I guess the PR event before it, because it was like we were testing out different things. We didn't get access to the whole game. But when I went to Canada to see Gears 5, we went out to dinner. We spent a lot of time, with that team. Rod and the team are great. They're super, super friendly. He's very personable. Obviously, he was trying to impress me and the rest of the group of people that were there, obviously. But I never got anything other than just genuine enthusiasm for what he was doing and a passion for leading the team to create something of a high quality. And that definitely seems to be the case here as well. And as somebody who has been a fan of Blizzard for an incredibly long time, since like Warcraft 1 or 2.
Same here.
It is awesome. And like like if you look just around at Activision Blizzard, like the state of some of the other things that are going on, like Overwatch 2 is a mess. Like, you know, it is so nice to see like Dragonflight, WoW is hitting again. And Diablo 4,
100%.
like Blizzard is hitting like huge with this. Like this is, yeah, it is. I do have some like niggling issues with the game. Like I think one particular one, like you were talking about presentation and stuff like that. There were a couple of cutscenes later on in the game, like very late in the game, like either last act or last 2 acts.
I think the very last cutscene has some stuttering, doesn't it?
Oh, lots of it for me. Yeah. Lots of that. But so like there were some performance
that seems
issues.
to be universal.
And then early on, I had like some like rubber banding issues, and I definitely had some bugs where I ran into a bug in Act 2 and another one in Act 5 where I couldn't access a quest thing or I couldn't access loot. And then when I backed out of the game and went back in, I lost progress and had to fight a boss again. But other than that, and then the fact that like there were 2 really good cutscenes, but that were not cinematic. They were in engine, and they were doing like really like punch close character close-ups, and I didn't think it looked great. I think other than like those very specific things, I agree with you. Like I think the game looks great. It generally plays really well. I hate that it's always online. I think that's garbage. I think that's garbage when basically any game does that. You know, unless it is multiplayer exclusive, like if it is a like multiplayer shooter that is only a multiplayer shooter, then that's fine because effectively it's going to be online requirement. But if there's any like single player aspect of it, like I don't agree with that. But I think that,
I agree with that sentiment generally.
Yeah.
I think there's a deeper discussion we have to have on that point with Diablo 4 itself is like, does it qualify? You know? And I feel like, yeah, there is a single player plot you can play solo and it probably should have that functionality. But I know Diablo 3 didn't either. And we keep going down towards that road and, you know, I know why they're doing it and they're trying to justify it with the MMO light aspects and the events and the end game and such. And it's like, which we could have a discussion about whether we feel that's worth it or not.
Those are cool, but also you could do all of that in Diablo 3 and the console versions did not require an internet connection, whereas now they do. But
the PC version did, and even in single player, it had latency issues at launch. I had that problem. I died repeatedly to the final boss of Diablo 3's base thing, despite not getting hit by anything because I'm dodging, because I live in Australia and they didn't have oceanic servers in a single player game.
And that sucks.
This is something they've been doing for a while.
And
I don't approve of it.
This was already like a news thing. One of the people who got to level 100 with a hardcore character, their character died because they disconnected. This is why I literally did not play hardcore on PC. I waited until I had the console version, I think it was like Reaper of Souls on PS4 and then Xbox One to play hardcore. And then I absolutely played through the entire game on hardcore and didn't even have that hard of a time with it. But because of the online requirements, like you take your life into your hands, man. And I wish that they were better about that. But yeah, I mean, all of that is just like, those are tiny little things. The always online thing is not a tiny thing for me personally. But I think that in spite of those things, I think that Diablo 4 is... Actually, hold on. Let me pull up my backlogs real quick. Because before I'm going to say something that I might regret later. Okay. Backlogged.com/u/Ribnax. Where are my lists? 2023 favorite games. Let me look down this list. Okay. Wild Frost, World of Horror, Street Fighter 6, Spider of Blanca, Mage Seeker, Triangle Strategy, Diablo 4. Yeah.
Triangle Strategy was last year, though.
It was, but I finished it this year.
Okay,
So
fair.
it's not like I have a High on Life on here. You know, I've got something, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. You know, I've got Horizon.
So it's
Forbidden
more
West.
about stuff you played when
It's
you
stuff
played
that I
Got
played
that.
this
Okay,
year. Yeah. So I'm keeping track of that sort of stuff. You know,
That's
Season, Hogwarts Legacy, Hi-Fi Rush, Dead Cells. Dead Cells definitely didn't come out this year, but the Castlevania thing.
no.
Yeah, but so
Yeah, the Dead Cells slaps though.
Yeah, I beat Dead Cells this year and then went into the Castlevania DLC right after. So yeah, so I think of those games that I played, Diablo 4 it's definitely in the conversation. Dang, why is Tears of the Kingdom? I wasn't when I did this last. I wasn't totally sold on Tears of the Kingdom. I think now I'm getting there, but I'm salty about that about that patch, that forced patch. Anyways,
Yeah, fair.
but yeah,
well, I'm one of those people who has more grievances than most with Tears of the Kingdom, and so I don't think it will be my game of the year. Like I can tell you, it's not going to be my game of the year.
Yeah,
I like Diablo 4 better,
yeah,
and I have fairly strong reasons for that, which is a full topic for a spoiler cast one day. But
yeah. I don't have the Diablo 4 doesn't have anything like breakable weapons that I can like just really rail against, or like just generally how that does it. You know, it's one of those things where
the
like
combat feels good to play in Diablo, and that is an improvement.
Yes. You know, I think that Tears of the Kingdom is definitely a more polarizing experience for me. Like when it's hitting, it's really hitting. But when it's not hitting, man, it's just kind of a tedious slog that I find really annoying. Diablo 4 doesn't have
You really
any of
have
that.
to be willing to dive into the sandbox to really get the most out of it. And what it allows you is impressive.
Yeah.
Diablo 4, none of that. It is focused, even despite being, kind of big open world-y thing with a lot of side content and stuff you can do. Just all of it, all the systems is just so focused. It's like it knows what it wants to be, what it wants to do, has a plan, executes on that plan, nails it like 99% of the time. There's certainly a few, little things, like I did have bugs and such as well, and a few little errors. I rubber band a lot. A lot of that can be attributed more to, again, latency. Yay, Australia. But by and large, still, the experience was just so strong. So goddamn strong.
Yeah, it's great. And that is one of the things that I like most about it is that like of all of the games that I've played this year, just like looking through this, I think maybe other than like Triangle Strategy, Humanity, and the Spider of Blanca DLC for Case of the Golden Idol, like I think that my experience with Diablo is like the most consistently awesome. Like those games are like definitely like of a single piece, and none of them require an internet connection, so like you don't have to worry about servers or anything like that. But I think that like the fact that Diablo 4 is as feature rich as it is as well done from the minute details all the way out to like big picture looking at the story, how it handles its characters. Fun, like crazy thing, but like when I got to the end of the game, and like so in the credits they show a lot of like concept art and key art of like all the different characters, and we were going through, and I was like, this might seem like a small thing, but I was like, I remember that guy. I remember his name. I remember I think there was one person from like very early on that I like didn't remember their name, but everybody else I was like, I know all of these characters and I like all of these characters. Like I think that they do a really great job with something that is hard. Like something that is really hard, which is creating characters in a world that you care about and telling a good story with them that makes sense with all of them, like with all of them acting together. Like that is hard to do. And
I agree completely.
I feel like they did a great job on both the protagonist and antagonist side of things and the supporting
Very
characters.
much so.
Like I can't think like there's one of the things that I wanted to say is like, wow, congratulations. Like Diablo 2 and Diablo 4 are just the best Diablo games. And we talked about this earlier. Like recency bias is a hell of a drug. And as critics, we really need to be cognizant of like,
very much so. Yeah.
Before we make crazy hyperbolic statements like Diablo 4 is the best Diablo game ever made. Now, I say right now, I'm definitely thinking that is possible. It is possible that Diablo 4 is the best Diablo game ever made. I definitely think that right now it is either Diablo 4 or Diablo 2 for me, and they feel very close. Like I
agree.
And I did not play Resurrected, so like this is still like OG and Lords of Destruction Diablo 2 that I'm thinking about. And at this point, honestly, I'm thinking about maybe buying Resurrected and playing it, just to like go back and do that. But one of the things that I can say is that I feel like there are still parts of Diablo 4 where it kind of felt like Diablo 3, where it like felt like an action game, and I kind of lost the terror of it. Whereas like in Diablo 2, I always felt like kind of freaked out by just like the places that I was.
That's fair. Yeah.
And so I feel like in atmosphere and in like, I mean, 2 has Deckard Cain, 2 has like that iconic opening of like, forgive me, Tyrael, you know, like that. Like, I feel like there is a degree of which Diablo 2 is kind of crunchier, like in my memory. And part of that is probably when it came out and how long it's been baked into my memory. You know, how long I've been saying to people, stay a while and listen, you know, like, but
iconic. Yeah.
But like, you know, and like the fact that like I'm looking at like, oh man, like Act 1, you go down into the church or like into this place and you fight Andariel and like it's so crazy. And then you go later and you're like doing all of these things. And you're going into this crazy astral plane in the desert. And you're going down into these like pyramid things with the cat people jumping all over. And you go down in the sewers, you know, like there.
And then Duriel jumps out and ruins your day going, looking for Bale.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's so much of that is like so good. But I think you put it beautifully. Like they made Diablo 2 too. Like this feels closer to that than anything else that I have played. So I think, I mean, one of their stated goals is like they wanted to kind of go back and, you know, recapture some of that old kind of feeling. Like they wanted to bring that back. And man, they you know, you said it, they knocked it out of the park. I really think that they succeeded on basically every level, which is like, man, like,
yeah, because we got to look back at how much of the gaming landscape and in general, just like the gothic atmosphere in games, was kind of established by early Diablo games. Like you had first Diablo 2, and then you basically had Soul Reaver. Yeah. Like Soul Reaver kind of did that, and then Diablo 2, and it's like, yeah, okay, those are the ones that really codified it. But so much of how like the gaming language in terms of like systems, item rarity, colors, things like that, so much of it is owed to those first 2 games, and just how it reads, how it plays, how it looks, how it feels, all of that. And this goes right back there. And that's what really gets me. It's like, this feels like it's a love letter to that what codified so much of that entire subgenre of atmosphere and gameplay systems and such. Is like, here it is again in all its glory, in, you know, the best possible graphics and the highest quality cinematics that Blizzard has ever put out. Like that last one in Act 6, mwah, incredible. Yeah. And just it's so good.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
It just really
to play
does feel like that.
Yeah, it's great. But it's like we said, banner year for games, and
absolutely,
it keeps going. But yeah, one of the great things about this is like Diablo 3 is great, but Diablo 3 is great in spite of what it was, and largely because of what it became. Like with Reaper of Souls, like it became kind of a different game.
It was a bad game until Reaper of Souls happened, straight up. Like,
yeah, and I
would not defend it.
I still enjoyed the base game, but I think that makes me kind of an outlier. The great thing
there was
about
gameplay aspects to it I liked, so I hated the story.
Yeah.
The story just made me want to couldn't stand it. So yeah,
it's not Rise of Skywalker level for me, but I definitely was
yeah, well, a few things are.
Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, there definitely, I felt like it was good through, I feel like Act 3 and the end, I didn't like, but I thought the beginning and middle were fine. But this is definitely not like that.
Not at all.
The point that I wanted to make is like, Diablo 3, I think now Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls is considered like a great game.
It became good, yes.
Diablo 4 is great out of the gate. And how much better can it become? You know,
yeah, because the interesting
with
thing,
a much stronger foundation this time around. And so I can't wait to see where it goes from here.
What I find most interesting is that the main competition and benchmark for it is not even Diablo 2 or Diablo 3. It's Path of Exile. That's the big thing that it has to beat. And I'm one of those sickos who does play Path of Exile and, goes back every other season or so.
How do I keep attracting co-hosts that are sickos for Path of Exile?
I like Diablo games, so I'm gonna like Path of Exile.
I feel like I might be the only Diablo lover that doesn't like Path of Exile. That's crazy.
That's fair. Like, there's similarities and differences, but that always felt to me like they tried to make Diablo 2 too before, Diablo 4 could even attempt it. It felt like a response to, we don't like how Diablo 3 went, let's do our own. And it is built up from there into this, like the pinnacle of like what seasonal content and stuff does and how you can just go in, roll out. It's like, here's a fresh reset, play for 3 months, try a new build. We got a new mechanic. We brought some old stuff back. We're constantly building up to it. It's got a lot going on, and I regularly enjoy returning to Path of Exile. So I'm curious to see how Diablo 4 will stack up to that in the long run, how it handles like seasonal content and things like that.
Yeah.
But like, just as a box product, like, it kicks the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Like, Diablo 4 kicks the shit out of Path of Exile at a base level. Like, the end game might be more in Path of Exile's favor, but like, it's hard to say. And they've had a lot more time to perfect it and build up on it.
Yeah.
Like, Atlus mapping was not like it as it is now, is not like what it was. So,
and I definitely will say
it's just very interesting to see.
Yeah, for sure. Like, out of the box, Diablo 4 is better. I also think that like, from an ease of use standpoint, I think that Diablo 4 is like 100% leagues beyond it. And I think that there definitely is an element of Path of Exile that like kind of embodies the, I don't want to say inscrutability, but I guess maybe the like ability to get lost and not really know what you're doing that Diablo 2 had, and Diablo 4 doesn't really seem to have that. So if you're going for that, then like that might be something that Diablo 4 is not necessarily going to deliver for you. But I think basically on every other front, Diablo 4 like has a pretty robust end game progression system that is very Path of Exile, but they don't shove it in your face from the beginning, which means you have time to get warmed up before they do it, which I prefer as somebody who was thoroughly intimidated by the Path of Exile system immediately. And the fact that you are making decisions that like are going to be locked in. I was just like, okay. Like, I'm a little scared, but
Yeah, you hit level 2 in Path of Exile. You open the skill tree, and then 90% of players break and uninstall on the spot. Like, that's the kind of power that shit has. You look at that thing and you go, man, the sphere grid ain't shit.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It is nuts. The funny thing is that Diablo 4's endgame has a system like that, but you don't get to look at it. You don't even get to see it until level 50.
Yeah.
It's a locked out thing that you cannot click in any way until you get to level 50. And like, you've seen enough. Come on in.
Yeah.
Let's see what you got.
Yeah. You've mastered our more linear progression system. Now let's open the floodgates and give you some weird stuff to do.
Now let's let you build craft. Let's give you some uniques. Let's really shake things up.
Yeah.
You know, you had a great time in the narrative and such, and it's like, okay, but now what's up? And whew, it widens up. It widens up real big.
It's cool. Really cool.
I'm keen to play more of it. That's the thing that's telling, right? I finished the story. I played it all of yesterday after finishing the story. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go play it again tonight.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that. I'm like, what do I want to do next? Do I want to push into the post game? Do I want to make a new character? What do I want to do? I don't know, but I'm gonna do both of them eventually. So
same here.
But yeah, it's
the
idea
compelling.
Of having something.
It really is.
Of having a game that is this good with bones this solid, and I say that as a necromancer, I can say that. But yeah,
you and 85% of people I know are playing necromancers, and I can't talk. I did one in the beta, but I specifically picked something not that, just so I wasn't. And then
I've been a necromancer since Diablo II.
That's fine.
That's just, they didn't have it.
I said how they codified the language. Diablo 2 codified the goddamn necromancer language for all games afterward.
Yeah. And they did not have it in Diablo 3, so I went with Witch Doctor. But then they did add necromancer, and I switched right back. So I'm a minion guy in these games. I love having people do my bidding. In World of Warcraft, I played Warlock for the longest time because I like doing evil stuff and having minions and all that sort of stuff. I like embracing the dark arts, so I'm all about it. It's just what's going to happen. We
prefer the term morally questionable.
There you go. In the Dragon Age games, I became a blood mage. What do you want to do? If there's a forbidden art, I'm tapping right in. We already talked about Eldritch Bargains earlier. I'm doing it.
You said it. You're following your heart. I respect it.
If there's something that's taboo or forbidden, if there's some sort of a secret knowledge that's too powerful for mortals, that's the first thing I want, bro. Give me that stuff behind the glass that's all locked up. Hey, that book in the corner that's screaming, give me that one. I'll check that one out.
I'll scream right back. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Necronomicon, it's my favorite. It's light time read. I'm going to read that during my coffee break. But yeah. Anyways, I don't really have a lot else to say other than the stuff that I really want to get into on the spoiler cast. But yeah. I mean, Kris, we've talked so much about this. Do you have anything else that you wanted to say about this?
I mean, yeah, a lot of it is just digging into the plot, right? I've covered most of the high-level thoughts and a few specifics and things like that. I will just say, like, of the 5 classes presented, like, all of them have a unique flair, unique gimmick, skills, uniques, and everything. All of that just feel like they fit different roles and purposes, and there's a lot of buildcraft in all of them. Mm-hmm. I've made I played a rogue primarily through, that's my main character. I fiddled with a couple of builds. There's a lot of variety in there. I just changed one recently entirely because I got a cool unique that I wanted to try out. Been doing that. It's great fun. It's flexible, and I know it's completely distinct from how Necromancer plays or Sorcerer or any other thing. It's like, yep, it's nuts. There's a lot of stuff in here, and I think somebody is going to find something that they click with in some way. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's good.
Really surprisingly good game that really harkens back to the glory days of Blizzard, which again, in modern Actor Blizz and all they have done and all they are still not accountable for, #FireBobbyCotic. Good to see. Glad to see. Wish I didn't have to give money for it, but yeah, here's what it is. The devs are doing the work. The artists are making art.
Yeah.
It's just a shame that the executive class is constantly trying to ruin it at every step of the way, despite their effort.
Yeah. Yeah. Which thankfully doesn't seem to be the case with Diablo, but, we're talking higher echelons, that sort of thing. So
we'll see how the season passes and battle passes and shit shake out. It could still go very much the way of live service bullshit. And the microtransactions, already kind of pricey and egregious.
They're
frankly.
They're really, really pricey. I will say, like, in these games, I basically don't even look at any of that just because, like,
I looked to check what was there and go, yeah, no, goodbye.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that again. That as a base product, it's like you could just play through it once, put it down, never touch it again, never follow the seasonal stuff. I would still 100% recommend it. I would still say it's worth your money. I'd still say it's worth the asking price. Current standing game of the year for me.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think it's fantastic. And I to clarify what I said, I have looked at the store and like seen what is on offer. A lot of it is very expensive, but basically for me in these sorts of games, not for critique purposes, but just for my personal purposes, I'm never going to buy any of this stuff. I'm never going to buy any of this stuff from the Silver Shop in Destiny. I'm just not going to do it. So like for my own personal purposes, once I see what's in there, that's kind of it. And I just forget that it exists and just go on with my life.
Yeah. Likewise, but I know there are systems and such that do prey and exploit on people who are more susceptible to it. So
absolutely,
it's always worth bringing this up.
Absolutely, and well done. But on the other hand, like we were talking about this being like a full box product, it is totally reasonable and incredibly easy to, if you're the type of person who does not, like me, does not want to feel pushed into microtransactions and additional purchases. There's none of that in here. Like there's, it's all just cosmetic stuff that you can unlock and stuff like that. Like
it's not Diablo Immortal. It's not even close.
Yeah,
you're fine.
It's none of that sort of stuff. You're not buying loot boxes or anything like that. It's all direct purchase. Very much in keeping with the World of Warcraft store, which is just like
direct purchase, cosmetic only kind of thing.
Yeah. Do you want a new mount? Do you want a new?
Yeah.
You want a new pet? You want a new outfit, transmogrification, or something like that.
And you can still get plenty of stuff in the game, both in terms of mounts, appearances, armor sets, unique stuff for different character classes and such. You can make yourself look good without ever touching any of that, and probably better even. So yeah,
it's good stuff. So yeah, well, that's all I got for the SEP.
I think that covers it.
All right.
We'll do a deep dive on the plot another time, and hopefully we'll be able to join it.
Yeah, no joke. Yeah, I'll check in with him after this, as well as anybody else who might want to be on that, because that would be a fun one. I'm really looking forward to that. There's a lot of juicy stuff in here.
I really want to talk plot.
Yeah, we'll get to it soon enough. But for now, thank you all for joining us for episode 278 of The Platformers. If you want to watch the show live, you can check it out at twitch.tv/Ribnax, which is my streaming channel. You can also find me on Twitter at twitter.com/Ribnax. And we are working on getting the named version of my personal YouTube. So please follow the links in the promo to go over to the YouTube channel and throw me a follow. Please, 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 please. So that I can actually get like youtube.com/Ribnax. That would be awesome. Since we're pivoting basically everything over to Ribnax instead of the platformers, so it's just easier for me to handle all the announcements and everything. But yeah, you can also check me out on Backlogged, backlogged.com/u/Ribnax. It's where I highlight all the stuff that I'm playing. I write little mini reviews. It's a great way to kind of just see what I'm getting up to and the stuff that I recommend, as well as my list, like we were talking about earlier, that I referenced my favorite games of this year, all the games that I'm playing, the games that I'm reviewing, all that sort of stuff. That's kind of like the main hub where you can find that. And you can read my Shadow Gambit, The Cursed Crew preview right now at IGN.com. And there is a great video.
It's a good read.
Yeah, thank you very much. There's a video up there where you can like see the moment-to-moment gameplay and some of the cool stuff that I was able to do in the game. I'm amped, and you should definitely check it out. Kris, where can everybody find you?
You can find me at my personal website, much maligned, but needs to be touched up a little bit, versus the backlog, vsthebacklog.com. You can find me on Twitter at Delphi. I don't use it, but you can find me there. And otherwise, I am here and around the internet. You'll see me in places.
Yeah. Thank you very much for joining me for another episode, Kris. And thank you, everyone else out here, for joining us for this episode. We hope you have a wonderful week out there and stay safe because until next time, we are out.
Peace.